Chapter 131. The messenger was nailed to the floor. After struggling for a while, he stopped moving. The other ghosts were so scared that they ran away and hid far away. Tang Zheng sighed in relief. After dealing with these two messengers, no one would know about what happened tonight and he would be safe. Picking up the command medallion on the ground, it was very heavy and he did not know what material it was made of. There was a small seal script on it and Tang Zheng could barely make out the word messenger. It seems like this was the messenger's identity medallion. Tang Zheng put it in his pocket and went to the other messenger, preparing to put away the black sword. The black sword had turned into a big hole in the messenger's chest. Wisps of black gas were emitted from the messenger's body and were absorbed by the black sword. Tang Zheng looked at this scene in amazement. He held the black sword and it let out a buzzing sound. Tang Zheng immediately understood its intention. Messengers were formed by yin qi. The yin qi was denser than that of evil spirits. However, it was quite different from pure yin qi. It contained a lot of impurities and ferocity. It was the black sword's favorite. Okay, I'll let you have a good meal and destroy the corpse. The black sword heard this and trembled even more. After receiving its master's permission, it became a lot bolder. A sword chime sounded and the speed of absorbing yin qi suddenly increased. A whirlpool appeared on the surface of the sword. Whoosh, whoosh, the messenger instantly turned into wisps of black gas and was absorbed into the sword. With a flash of black light, the black sword seemed to become even darker. It was like ink and had a faint luster. Then it turned to the other messenger and did the same thing. The messenger became a delicious snack for the black sword. Even the two spears were swallowed by the black sword. Tang Zheng clicked his tongue in wonder. This black sword was truly desperate. Tian Chanzi, these ghosts won't leak my matter, right? Tang Zheng looked at the ghosts hiding in the distance and asked suspiciously. Tian Chanzi was full of confidence. Of course not. Let's leave quickly. Otherwise, if we stay too long, the messengers will not return to the ghost realm and there will be pursuers. Tang Zheng tied it up and confirmed that he did not leave behind any clues. Then, he dashed out of the morgue. Looking at the starry sky, he let out a long sigh. This time, it was a dangerous trip, but he also gained something. At least he learned something about the world of spirits and souls. Tian Chanzi, we've messed up this time. The world of spirits and souls will definitely investigate thoroughly. It's better not to go to places like the morgue, Tang Zheng said regretfully. Sigh, looks like I'll have to stay in your head for a while. Anyway, I think these carriers are too poor. Let's take our time to find them. Tian Chanzi also knew the seriousness of the matter, so he didn't force it. However, after absorbing so much yin qi, I can clearly feel some changes. What other places are rich in yin qi and have evil spirits? I want it to absorb enough yin qi so that it can quickly increase its strength. In the future, when I face that black-clothed man's master, I will have more ability to protect myself. Both of them agreed with his point of view. After a moment of silence, they said in unison, graveyard. It's best if it's an old graveyard, such as a place like the unmarked common graves. There are very few new ghosts in this kind of place. Reapers won't go to this kind of place, but it's easy to breed evil spirits. This is your chance, Tian Chanzi added. Tang Zheng's eyes lit up. The black sword seemed to have sensed something and excitedly buzzed and vibrated. I know that there's a unmarked common graves outside the city. It's said that it's an ancient battlefield. Many people died there. Once, a construction company took a fancy to that piece of land. As soon as the ground was broken, there were ghosts. In the end, a few people died, and no one dared to go there anymore. Tang Zheng suddenly remembered this feng shui treasure land. There are definitely evil spirits in this kind of place. Prepare a little and go tomorrow night. You've caused such a big commotion tonight, it's better if you stop. Tang Zheng laughed mischievously and agreed. However, he didn't get what he wanted the next day. As soon as he arrived at school, Liu Qingmai grabbed him and asked him to accompany her to a cocktail party after school. Tang Zheng then remembered the agreement from a few days ago. He had no choice but to postpone the plan to go to the unmarked common graves. Yi Dingdang was in high spirits as both of her hands rested on the table, supporting her delicate and pretty face. When she saw Tang Zheng enter, her eyes couldn't help but light up as a raging fighting spirit ignited within her. She had been depressed for the past few days. Tang Zheng had given her a big blow, but Yi Dingdang wasn't an ordinary person. She quickly adjusted and turned the pressure into motivation. She was prepared to catch up to Tang Zheng's cultivation, and even surpass him. Tang Zheng, I want to challenge you. Yi Dingdang waved her fist and vowed. Tang Zheng couldn't help but laugh. Oh, you're that confident? Of course. Who do you think I, Yi Dingdang, am? My dream is to become the strongest martial artist in the world. How could I be defeated by you? Don't try to shake my firm belief. It's all futile. Yi Dingdang chattered. Haha, relax. I won't shake your belief. Good luck. Yi Dingdang's face flashed with suspicion. Aren't you afraid that I'll catch up to you and surpass you? Then we'll talk about it when you catch up to me. Tang Zheng's current cultivation speed was so fast that even he didn't dare to believe it. However, his confidence was also more than enough. He didn't care about Yi Dingdang's challenge at all. Seeing his fearless appearance, Yi Dingdang's eyes widened. She couldn't help but feel angry. Damn it, was there a need to play cards like this? He wasn't worried at all. However, her skills were inferior. If she were to lose her temper, it would make her seem even more useless. Thus, she said, do you dare to make a bet with me? Oh, how do you want to bet? Tang Zheng was interested. If I surpass you, then you have to announce to the world that Tang Zheng is not as good as Yi Dingdang. Announce to the world? I'm afraid there won't be that many people paying attention to me. Tang Zheng said with a smile. Yi Dingdang stubbornly said, I don't care. In any case, you have to announce this to the world. Okay, but what if you can't surpass me? I will definitely surpass you. That won't do. Since it's a bet, you need to have a stake. Otherwise, if you can't surpass me and there's no stake, then wouldn't I lose a lot? I'll marry you. Yi Dingdang said without thinking in her anger. This voice wasn't soft. In the already quiet classroom, it was like a clap of thunder. It clearly entered the ears of many people. Everyone looked over and stared in disbelief. Yi Dingdang was going to marry Tang Zheng. This was too fast. A while ago, they were still talking about fiancé. Now, they were going to be promoted. Tang Zheng suddenly coughed. He was incomparably embarrassed. This Yi Dingdang really dared to say this. Yi Dingdang, you're going to marry my boyfriend? Fang Sheshe had unknowingly walked in and heard Yi Dingdang's domineering declaration. However, she wasn't flustered and exasperated. Instead, she asked with interest. Yi Dingdang looked at Fang Sheshe in astonishment. In fact, she also felt that the relationship between Fang Sheshe and Tang Zheng was very subtle these past few days. Every look and action was filled with intimacy. I'm making a bet with him. How could Yi Dingdang lose in this kind of confrontation? Therefore, she wasn't afraid of being exposed and spoke bluntly. Fang Sheshe glanced at Tang Zheng flirtatiously and said, then you won't have a chance. I also feel that way. Yi Dingdang proudly raised her neck, because my cultivation will definitely surpass his in the future. He can only admit defeat. Ah, you're betting on this? Fang Sheshe was shocked. It was clear that she didn't hear the first part of the conversation and only heard Yi Dingdang's declaration. If it's not this, then what is it? Yi Dingdang was baffled. Fang Sheshe's expression was a bit strange. She knew that Tang Zheng was a cultivator and his cultivation speed was so fast. She didn't think that Yi Dingdang had a chance of surpassing him. She couldn't help but feel a bit vexed. She leaned against Tang Zheng's ear and said, you clearly know that you will win, so you deliberately made this bet with her, right? Tang Zheng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He cried out, how would I know that she would mention this bet? Humph. Fang Sheshe tenderly snorted, I want to see how you will solve this problem. Tang Zheng suddenly had a bright idea. She was just momentarily interested. Who knows, maybe she will forget about it in a few days. I don't believe it. However, I will surpass her in the future. Since she dares to steal my boyfriend in front of me, I will defeat her. Fang Sheshe was full of fighting spirit. Tang Zheng bitterly looked at her. He didn't know why her fighting spirit was also aroused. He could only secretly sigh. This situation was too chaotic. Let me tell you a piece of good news. I am already a first-grade refining chi cultivator. Fang Shisha proudly said. Really? Tang Jing stared at her. Sure enough, she was already a first-grade refining chi cultivator. It seems like Tian Chan's words were not false. After her transformation, her physique was really too good. Congratulations, you are too awesome. Tang Zheng was overjoyed. He couldn't help but kiss Fang Shisha. Wow! Exclamations sounded from all around. It must be known that everyone was silently watching this good show. Seeing Tang Zheng kiss Fang Shisha in front of Yi Dingdang, this was too explosive. Tang Zheng also realized the problem. He quickly let go of Fang Shisha. Her face was already as red as a ripe apple. She coquettishly glared at him. This beautiful appearance made everyone's heart beat faster. They were simply envious and jealous of Tang Zheng. Even Feng Yong couldn't help but give Tang Zheng a thumbs up. Yi Dingdang also didn't think that Tang Zheng would be so bold. Seeing Fang Shisha's shy and proud expression, she fiercely glared at Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng could only pretend that he didn't see anything. Fortunately, the teacher walked in and helped Tang Zheng out of his predicament. Everyone had no choice but to reluctantly turn their heads. This scene was simply too wonderful compared to class. Tang Zheng also angrily sat down. Yi Dingdang said in a low voice, "You did it on purpose, right?" "Hi, I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it," Tang Zheng said in an embarrassed tone. Yi Dingdang thought of the decision she made some time ago. She suddenly felt a bit wronged. She was willing to make the act real, but he kissed Fang Shisha in front of so many people. He was too hateful. I will definitely beat him. Yi Dingdang's thoughts suddenly changed. She decided not to think about the decision she made a while ago. A woman's heart was like a needle at the bottom of the sea. This change was so fast that it made people dumbfounded. Chapter 132. Tang Zheng looked at himself in the mirror. He was wearing a casual suit that accentuated his sturdy figure. He looked less childish and more mature. He looked exactly like a handsome guy. This was the result of him being dragged to the mall by Liu Qingmai after school. For tonight's ball, Liu Qingmai wanted to dress him up. Tang Zheng did not know that the ball would be so troublesome, but he could not change her mind, so he could only let her do as she pleased. Liu Qingmei's eyes flashed with a hint of surprise. This brat's dress-up really has some flavor. No wonder Fang Shisha and Yi Dingdang were fighting over him. "Miss, your boyfriend is really handsome. This dress is especially suitable for him," the sales assistant praised. Boyfriend. Tang Zheng opened his eyes wide and looked at Liu Qingmai strangely. He was afraid that she would get angry, but she did not comment. "It's really not bad." "Then I'll take this." Suddenly, Tang Zheng changed from inside out. Oh, other than his underwear, he changed into all his other clothes and shoes. This was the first time Tang Zheng dressed up like this. In the past, he did not have that much money to dress up. He could not help but feel a bit of novelty and looked at himself in the mirror. Hey, clothes make the man, Buddha makes the gold. This sentence was not wrong. His current temperament was very different from that of a high school student. It was very difficult to associate him with a high school student. Especially when he wore this set of clothes, he would definitely be regarded as a successful young talent by others. Bill. Liu Qingmai took out her credit card and did not hesitate. "Teacher Liu, this set of clothes is very expensive." Tang Zheng secretly glanced at the price tag and was secretly speechless. She did not even blink when it was a few thousand yuan worth of clothes. Tang Zheng used to only wear clothes that were a few dozen or 100 yuan. He had never worn such high-quality clothes before. Even if he had a few 100,000 yuan in savings, he did not think about spending money in this area. Liu Qingmai coldly glanced at him. "I'm the one paying the bill, not you. What are you afraid of?" Tang Zheng simply shut up and didn't say anything. He could only carry the clothes he had changed out of and return to the mini car. "Be alert later. Don't give yourself away," Liu Qingmai instructed as she drove. "What do you mean?" "Today, You will pretend to be my boyfriend and accompany me to the ball. Later, those people won't be as simple as that salesperson. They are all shrewd people. If you don't pay attention, they will see through you." Liu Qingmai said. "Pretend to be her boyfriend?" Tang Zheng was shocked. He never thought that he would be asked to be her fake boyfriend. Am I really that much like a firefighter? Not only Yi Dingdang, but now even Liu Qingmai was involved. He felt the need to make things clear. "Teacher Liu, I am only your student. Moreover, with such a big gap between us, no one would believe that I am your boyfriend." She raised her eyebrows and glared at him. "Are you saying that I am very old so we don't match?" To say that a woman was old was the same as seeking death. Tang Zheng understood this point, so he hurriedly waved his hands. "That's not what I meant. Teacher Liu is very young and is about the same age as the girls in my class. What I meant was that I am only a student, so I can't act as a boyfriend." "Can't act? I don't think so. Aren't you like a fish in water between Fang Shisha and Yi Dingdang? Aren't you enjoying life on both sides? I think you have a lot of experience," Liu Qingmai said sarcastically. Tang Zheng embarrassedly said, "Teacher Liu, you can't wrongly accuse me." I don't care about your business. But tonight you must act well. Otherwise, you know the consequences," Liu Qingmai threatened. Tang Zheng inwardly sighed as there was nothing he could do. Who told her to be a teacher? Who told her to have a handle on him? Then he could only continue on the path of being a fake boyfriend and walk further and further down it. The car stopped in front of a 5-star hotel. After getting off, Liu Qingmai intimately held onto Tang Zheng's arm. Tang Zheng's body couldn't help but stiffen. "Relax. Don't be so stiff. It's not like anyone will eat you," Liu Qingmai warned in a low voice. Tang Zheng took a deep breath. Since he was already here, he might as well take things as they came. Tang Zheng adjusted very quickly and immediately got rid of the stiffness. He held his head high and puffed out his chest as he walked with her to the door. "Qingmai, you came." A person walked out from the door with a kind tone. But when he saw this scene, his face immediately stiffened with disbelief. This person was of course Song Donghua. When he first saw Tang Zheng spend the night at Liu Qingmei's house, he was furious and prepared to deal with Tang Zheng. But he had been so busy that he didn't have the time to deal with Tang Zheng. Of course, he didn't give up on his attacks on Liu Qingmei. Instead, he became even fiercer. Liu Qingmei was annoyed beyond words, but he was like a dog-skin plaster, causing her to be unable to do anything. This dance party was also invited by him. Originally, she wanted to refuse, but after Ordinary Balance City's mayor personally came forward to invite her, she couldn't refuse. This mayor was an old subordinate of Liu Qingmei's father and was someone she was familiar with. She couldn't refuse, but she also knew that Song Donghua would definitely pester her. Thus, she simply pulled Tang Zheng over to pretend to be her boyfriend and fend off this annoying fly. Speaking of which, Liu Qingmei didn't have many friends in Ordinary Balance City, let alone friends of the opposite sex. Thus, only Tang Zheng was the most suitable candidate. Liu Qingmei expressionlessly nodded her head and pulled Tang Zheng inside. Song Donghua saw the two's intimate actions and was furious. But he didn't act out. Instead, he still had a faint smile on his face as he followed them. "Mayor Jiang is waiting for you over there. I'll bring you over." "No need, we'll go by ourselves." Liu Qingmei refused and walked with Tang Zheng towards Ordinary Balance City's mayor, Jiang Yongda. Jiang Yongda saw the two of them and walked over to greet them from afar. "Qingmei, I didn't even know that the old leader's daughter was in my district." His tone was familiar and it was clear that he was an old acquaintance. Liu Qingmei was still cold as she said, "Uncle Jiang, you are busy with work and it is inconvenient for me to disturb you. Moreover, I like peace and quiet." Towards her coldness, Jiang Yongda didn't mind as he knew that her temper was like this. "Even if I am busy with work, I will still push off work to meet you. You don't know how much the old leader misses you," Jiang Yongda said with a smile. Jiang Yongda was undoubtedly the center of attention as many pairs of eyes looked at him. Seeing that he was so passionate towards such a beautiful girl, they all started to guess Liu Qingmei's identity. Even Tang Zheng received some attention, but he did not feel uncomfortable. Instead, he looked at the ball with a bit of novelty. Each and every one of them was dressed in suits and leather shoes, looking like successful people. They held high wine glasses and gathered in twos and threes, whispering to each other. "This gentleman is..." Jiang Yongda's gaze fell on Tang Zheng's body and his face was filled with suspicion. "My boyfriend, Tang Zheng." Liu Qingmai hugged Tang Zheng even tighter as he could clearly feel the soul-stirring elasticity of her chest. Jiang Yongda's eyes flashed with a trace of astonishment as he inadvertently glanced at Song Donghua. Song Donghua awkwardly lowered his head, but as a government official, especially someone of Jiang Yongda's level, he naturally wouldn't easily reveal his true feelings. He passionately said, "Mr. Tang, it is a pleasure to meet you. I am Jiang Yongda." As he spoke, he took the initiative to extend his hand. He wasn't clear on Tang Zheng's background, but since he was Liu Qingmei's boyfriend, he would naturally take the initiative to show his enthusiasm. Tang Zheng didn't hesitate and lightly shook hands with him. He didn't feel uncomfortable at all and didn't bow and scrape like a normal person would when meeting an official. What a joke, he was a cultivator, so how could he bow and scrape to an official? Otherwise, he would definitely be despised to death by Tian Chanzi. Liu Qingmai looked at Tang Zheng in astonishment as his temperament was completely different from that of a student. She thought that he would be exposed, but she didn't think that he would perform so well. Even Jiang Yongda was guessing at Tang Zheng's background and thought that he was some young master. Only Song Donghua knew of Tang Zheng's identity and couldn't help but secretly despise him. "Acting, let's see how you will act later. A toad will never be able to stand on the stage. Uncle Jiang, you go ahead and do what you need to do. We will go over there." Liu Qingmai knew when to stop as she didn't want to be the center of attention and was deeply afraid that Tang Zheng would reveal a flaw. Jiang Yongda smiled reservedly as he nodded and then gave Song Donghua a meaningful glance. Song Donghua understood and walked over to his side. "Who is that Tang Zheng?" Jiang Yongda asked in a deep voice. Song Donghua suppressed the anger in his heart and said, "He is her student." "Student? Doesn't she teach high school?" "Yes, that little brat is a high school student and is also an orphan who was raised by an old man who picked up junk." Even the shrewd Jiang Yongda couldn't hide his surprise as he looked at Tang Zheng from afar and found it hard to connect him with the information that Song Donghua had said. That little brat only knows how to act and isn't any great person. Song Donghua continued to slander him. Jiang Yongda looked at his secretary meaningfully and said, "Donghua, why are you so impatient in front of a high school student? What is Qingmei's status? How could she be together with a high school student? Maybe she is purposely testing you." Song Donghua was speechless as he couldn't say that he personally saw Tang Zheng spend the night at Liu Qingmei's house. Jiang Yongda patted his shoulder and said, "Perform well tonight and let Qingmei have a more comprehensive and deeper understanding of you. I still think highly of you. Next time when I visit the old leader, I'll bring you with me." Song Donghua felt a burst of excitement. That's right, if he couldn't handle Liu Qingmei then he could start from her family. As long as he could handle her father then wouldn't he be able to win her over? Song Donghua seemed to have awoken from a dream as he shed tears of gratitude. "Thank you, boss." Tang Zheng and Liu Qingmei went to a corner where many people tried to strike up a conversation with her. It could be said that she was the prettiest girl in the entire ball, but Liu Qingmei was like an iceberg and didn't care about her at all. This made these successful people feel helpless as they couldn't help but look at Tang Zheng a few more times. What kind of ability did this little brat have to be able to make such a beauty so dead set on him? The gentle music disappeared as Jiang Yongda walked up to the stage and gave an impassioned speech. It turned out that this was a ball to attract investors and the people attending were all successful people from all walks of life. Tang Zheng and Liu Qingmei didn't have the heart to pay attention to these loud speeches as they focused on tasting the red wine in their glasses. Liu Qingmei even warned Tang Zheng not to drink too much due to his young age. After the speech, the music started again and the ball began. Many people pulled their partners onto the dance floor. Song Donghua directly walked over and politely said, "Qingmei, may I have the honor of inviting you for the first dance?" "No." Liu Qingmei mercilessly refused and pulled Tang Zheng towards the dance floor. Tang Zheng was shocked as he didn't know how to dance. Chapter 133. Tang Zheng was forced onto the dance floor like a duck on a perch, leaving behind Song Donghua, who awkwardly maintained his gentlemanly bent posture, causing others to point at him. Book Friends Group. Song Donghua's face turned the color of a pig's liver as his eyes burned with rage. Liu Qingmai was clearly deliberately humiliating him. Liu Qingmai did not think of humiliating anyone as she was not that bored. She simply ignored him and did not even consider the fact that Tang Zheng did not know how to dance. "Hey, what are you standing there for? Hurry up and hug my waist." The two stood on the dance floor as Liu Qingmai urged him. "Oh." Tang Zheng subconsciously hugged her waist and used some strength, causing her to tightly stick to his body, causing her chest to change shape. She almost cried out in alarm and angrily said, "Tang Zheng, what are you doing?" She thought that he was deliberately taking advantage of her as he had a criminal record. Tang Zheng innocently said, "Didn't you want me to hug your waist? There's no need to hug so tightly. Don't tell me you don't know how to waltz. Don't talk about waltz, I don't even know how to dance." Tang Zheng was a child from a poor family, so how could he know how to dance? Liu Qingmai could not help but roll her eyes. She had thought of every possibility, but she had overlooked this point. But they had already entered the dance floor and Song Donghua was like a tiger watching its prey. She could not just leave. "I'll teach you and you have to follow my steps." Liu Qingmai imperceptibly taught Tang Zheng the proper posture, and simply explained the rhythm of the steps, and then began to move along with the music. The two were mixed in the crowd and were not too eye-catching. Tang Zheng carefully danced to her rhythm. The two were very close to each other and he could clearly smell the faint fragrance coming from her body. She was wearing a long dress that looked a bit like an evening gown. It was inevitable that the opening of her chest was a bit low. Tang Zheng's 1.75 m height was taller than her, so when he lowered his head he could see a patch of snow white. There was also a black laced brassiere. The contrast of black and white created a strong visual impact. Tang Zheng couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. This scenery was too alluring. Liu Qingmai noticed his actions. She raised her eyebrows and said coldly, "Where are you looking at?" Tang Zheng panicked and his footsteps became disorderly. "Ouch!" Liu Qingmai cried out in pain as Tang Zheng stepped on her foot. "You did it on purpose, didn't you?" "No, I don't know how to dance," Tang Zheng argued. Liu Qingmai glared at him. She couldn't help but regret her rashness. She shouldn't have pulled him onto the dance floor. Now she was the one who suffered. "Ouch." She was stepped on again. Tang Zheng said awkwardly, "I didn't do it on purpose." Liu Qingmei's eyes burned with anger as she snorted coldly. "Ouch." Another person cried out. This time it wasn't Liu Qingmai but Tang Zheng. She deliberately stepped on Tang Zheng's foot with her high heels. "You're the one who did it on purpose, right?" Tang Zheng said angrily. Liu Qingmei's eyes flashed with a trace of craftiness as she said, "It's clearly you who messed up my pace. It's not my fault." Tang Zheng was speechless. He was too lazy to argue with her. He only hoped that the song would end soon. However, the heavens didn't let him. Liu Qingmei's beauty was still too dazzling. Many of the so-called successful people on the dance floor were secretly glancing at her. There were even some people who gradually moved to her side as she danced. Tang Zheng's eyes were sharp and his ears were alert. How could he not see this group of successful perverts? He saw that a fat middle-aged man had already reached her and was purposely using his back to rub against her. After all, Liu Qingmai was his teacher, and now she was also his dance partner, so how could he let others take advantage of her? Therefore, the hand that was resting on her waist slid down to her buttocks. Even through the thin skirt, he could still feel the soul-stirring elasticity. "What are you doing?" Liu Qingmai turned pale with fright. This brat's character never changed. He actually still wanted to take advantage of her. "Hurry up and move your hands away. Otherwise, I'll really get angry." She was his teacher, but she was taken advantage of by him again and again in front of so many people. How could she not be angry? But Tang Zheng said seriously, "Stop messing around. You still dare to tell me to stop messing around? Is it reasonable for you to take advantage of me?" Liu Qingmai felt like she was going crazy. Before she could reprimand him, She heard a scream that sounded like a pig being slaughtered. It drowned out the sound of the music. This sound was of course made by the fat man. Tang Zheng pointed his finger and a stream of qi hit the other person's butt. It would be strange if he didn't scream. Everyone stopped and their eyes were immediately drawn over. They saw that person's face was red from the pain and it seemed like he was about to cry. The others didn't know what was going on, but Liu Qingmai suddenly realized. Especially when she saw Tang Zheng's evil smile, she knew that he was the one who did it. What did you just do? He wanted to take advantage of you. I taught him a lesson. Tang Zheng said with an evil smile. Liu Qingmai realized that she had wronged him. His hand slid to her but to protect her. She couldn't help but feel a bit ashamed. Tang Zheng, I'm sorry. I misunderstood you. It's okay. It's not the first time you misunderstood me. Tang Zheng said generously. Then can you take your hand away? Tang Zheng reluctantly let go of his hand. That feeling was really good. Liu Qingmai turned around and stared at the battered and exhausted successful person. That person did not dare to look at her and hurriedly squeezed out of the crowd. Disgusting. Liu Qingmai coldly said, Tang Zheng, let's go. Tang Zheng resentfully let go of his hand and the two walked towards Jiang Yongda. Uncle Jiang, I still have some things to do so I'll leave first. Jiang Yongda didn't force them. Okay, I'll come see you next time. Song Donghua watched the two leave. He stood to the side with a gloomy face and didn't say a word. Jiang Yongda glanced at him, patted his shoulder, and said, haste makes waste. Song Donghua didn't listen to what Jiang Yongda said, but he was unwilling to lose to a high school student. He had to take some measures. He quietly walked to a remote corner and dialed a number. Hello, hoodlum, help me do something. Tang Zheng sat in Liu Qingmei's car. She was still indignant that she had almost been taken advantage of. She swore that she would never go to this kind of messy dance party again. Where are you going? She glanced at the calm Tang Zheng and asked. Home. Shangfeng Shishui? Liu Qingmai probed. Yes. You moved to Shangfeng Shishui so quickly? Liu Qingmai was astonished. Is there a problem? Liu Qingmai curled her lips in disdain. Today's mission is complete. Teacher Liu, don't make me come to this kind of place again. It's so fake and boring. Liu Qingmai sighed. That's right, it's not interesting at all. If it's not interesting then why did you come? There's no other way. Moreover, you also saw Song Donghua's tail. It's too annoying. Maybe after today he saw that you are my boyfriend he will stop a bit. Tang Zheng shrugged his shoulders disapprovingly. I don't think so. He knows my identity so he must have guessed that this is a fake show. Then what should we do? How would I know? I'm not a relationship expert. Liu Qingmai looked at him and said, if you are not a relationship expert when you are between two girls then who would dare to call themselves a relationship expert? Tang Zheng was too lazy to explain so he simply stopped talking. Seeing that they had arrived at Shangfeng Shishui, he picked up his bag and jumped off the car. After school the next day, he ate dinner with Fang Shisha and strolled for a while before returning home. Now that her parents did not object, the two of them had more freedom. However, Fang Shisha was a good child who loved to study so she only used her free time to relax her mind. The two of them did not have any intimate actions at school. After all, the kiss that day was purely an accident and caused quite a stir. As Tang Zheng walked around the school, he saw many people pointing at him. If it wasn't for the rumor that he was hard to beat then there would have been people who would have gone to beat him up. Currently, Tang Zheng was a special existence in the school. He was ranked last in the entire school, but he managed to catch up to the school belle, Fang Shisha. Moreover, he also maintained an ambiguous relationship with the other school belle, Yi Dingdang. He was simply a love saint and of course also a public enemy. However, not only the boys, but even the girls did not give him a good face. After all, having a foot in two boats was not something that girls liked. After sending Fang Shisha home and checking on her practice, Tang Zheng decided to give her a spirit-gathering pill in a few days to improve her cultivation. Her foundation had already been consolidated, and the next step was to raise it. However, she only had cultivation, but not martial arts. This was Tian Chan's decision. He was not prepared to let her learn martial arts, but rather wait until he was reborn to teach her magic. At around 10 o'clock, Tang Zheng confirmed that his grandfather had fallen asleep. He then quietly left the house and went straight to the unmarked graves outside the city. He did not notice that there was a van following him from a distance and quietly came to the outskirts of the city. Ordinary Balanced City's development in the southern part of the city was very good and was rapidly expanding into the suburbs. However, the demolition of the old city in the northern part of the city was too difficult and had been delayed. Moreover, there was no expansion to the north because it would inevitably cross the unmarked graves. Almost all the businessmen knew that it was a haunted place. Even though the government had lowered the price of the land to a very low level, no one was interested in it. With the bloody lessons of the predecessors, no one dared to provoke those filthy things for a few dollars. In front of life, money was secondary. However, Tang Zheng was not afraid of those filthy things. On the contrary, he liked it very much because the Black Sword liked it very much. He ran all the way. The Black Sword seemed to feel that it was about to have a full meal and excitedly buzzed non-stop. Tonight, dark clouds covered the sky and there was not even a trace of moonlight or starlight. Tang Zheng held a flashlight as he moved forward. After half an hour, he saw his destination. It was an abandoned construction site with overgrown weeds. He could vaguely see some reinforced concrete, but it was covered in a thick layer of moss. Tang Zheng could imagine the frustration of the developer who wanted to show off his skills here but had to retreat in the end. These 2 days, Tang Zheng specially asked around and found out that the developer died not long after bleeding from his 7 orifices. Even the doctors could not find the cause of his death. Many people said that it was a ghost that came to take his life. Tang Zheng took deep and shallow steps and walked towards the center of the construction site with the help of the flashlight. It was almost midnight. Chapter 134. At midnight, the world was dead silent. 6 people came down from a van with a rustling sound. The leader was a man with a scar on his face. He looked extremely fierce. The other 5 people were not kind people either. They all looked ferocious. Brother BA, are we still chasing after them? That's the unmarked common graves. One of the lackeys trembled as he looked in the direction that Tang Zheng had left. The others also had fearful looks on their faces. The name of the unmarked common graves was simply too resounding. How could they not be afraid? Scarface scolded fiercely, F***CK, what are you afraid of? We have so many people. Even if it's a ghost, I'm going to catch it alive. I've been catching people for so many years, but I've never caught a ghost. When they heard this, their courage grew a lot. They were deeply afraid that if they showed their cowardice in front of their brothers, they would definitely be laughed at to death in the future. Okay, we'll listen to Brother BA. Let's go in and get rid of that brat. This is the wilderness, and it's an unmarked graveyard. It's a good opportunity to get rid of the corpse. Even if someone saw it, they would definitely think that it was done by a ghost. The lackey agreed. Scarface licked his lips and praised, not bad, he's got some brains. This brat didn't go anywhere else, but specifically came here. He's simply courting death. If you do what Brother Fei told you to do well, you'll be heavily rewarded. Understand? I know. Yuan asterisk, let's go. Hurry up and go in. Don't let that brat escape. Several people walked towards the center of the abandoned construction site with weapons such as clubs and machetes. The flashlight in Tang Zheng's hand was like a beacon, guiding the 6 of them. They were worried that they would be discovered, so they didn't use the flashlight at all. Instead, they just followed in the dark. Step by step, they gradually approached Tang Zheng. They saw Tang Zheng standing on a wasteland. This wasteland was very different from the other places. While other places were overgrown with weeds, this wasteland was bare and the surface was pitch black, as if ink had been broken. They didn't notice the strangeness of this wasteland and rushed out excitedly. The sound of their footsteps finally attracted Tang Zheng's attention. A beam of flashlight shone on them, and they were immediately exposed. They didn't hide anymore and swaggered towards Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng was originally waiting for the evil spirits when he suddenly heard the rustling behind him. He thought that the evil spirits had come out, but he was puzzled. Wasn't there still some time before 12 o'clock? This group of evil spirits came out too early. Gripping the black sword in his hand, he turned around and slashed backward, only to find that it was not an evil spirit under the light, but 6 large living people with weapons in their hands. "Who are you people?" Tang Zheng asked. "Was this a robbery?" This group of people was really bold to come here and rob. Scarface took a step forward and used his hand to block the glaring light. He fiercely said, "Brat, you've got guts. You actually didn't run when you saw us. Why should I run? I think you should be the ones running. There will soon be a ghost here. If you don't run, then it will be too late," Tang Zheng kindly advised. When they heard the word ghost, they couldn't help but tremble. They looked around as if they were really afraid that a ghost would crawl out from the darkness. But Scarface was very bold and laughed. "This father isn't afraid of people, why should I be afraid of ghosts?" Indeed, many times people were stronger than ghosts. It seems that Scarface also understood this principle. Tang Zheng shrugged and said, "Since you're not afraid, then stay here. The ghost will come out soon." "Fuck, don't use ghosts to scare this father. This father isn't scared. This father even dares to kill people, so why should I be afraid of ghosts? If this father was afraid of ghosts, then this father wouldn't kill people." Scarface proudly said, "Hey, brat, you want to use ghosts to scare us and take the opportunity to run, right? No way. Today your life will end here. This father wants to see if you will turn into a malicious spirit and come after this father's life." Tang Zheng's expression turned cold. He understood that this group of people were not blocking the road to rob him. Instead, they were deliberately targeting him. They must have followed him all the way here. I knew that no one would come to this unmarked common graves. So it was me who led them here. Tang Zheng suddenly realized, but he was not afraid. Instead, he calmly asked, "You want to kill me? Then who sent you? Let me die with a clear understanding." Tang Zheng's deliberate display of weakness made the few people even more arrogant, and even the last trace of fear towards ghosts disappeared. They all looked at Tang Zheng ferociously, as if they were looking at lambs waiting to be slaughtered. "Haha, now you know fear. This is the result of offending Brother Fei. In your next life, remember to open your eyes," Scarface said with a sinister smile. The other henchmen also loudly laughed. Their laughter was particularly loud in this spacious construction site, giving people a creepy feeling. "Brother Fei? You must be Hoodlum. Is Hoodlum someone you can call? No wonder Brother Fei sent us to deal with you. It turns out you are so arrogant and ignorant," Scarface reprimanded. Tang Zheng wrinkled his eyebrows. He did not pay attention to the other side's malicious words. Instead, he pondered why Hoodlum would send people to kill him. Was it because he exposed Lin Hu's plan to deal with Hoodlum? He did not hear anything. If it was really exposed, Lin Hu would definitely inform him. Could it be Huang Xiang? Huang Xiang had once tried to assassinate him in the hospital. Afterwards, he analyzed that Huang Xiang must have met the King of Medicine. That night, the King of Medicine was always by his side. Other than him, it could not be anyone else. It was just that the King of Medicine did not say anything. Huang Xiang was also definitely not dead. Otherwise, Huang Sai would definitely cause a ruckus. Ordinary balance would also not be so quiet. It was very likely that Huang Xiang sent Hoodlum to kill him. But thinking about it carefully, Tang Zheng rejected this idea. Huang Xiang was very clear about his skills. Sending these small fries would just be sending him to his death. Forget it. This guessing game is too difficult. When the time comes, I will just directly ask him. Tang Zheng shook his head. He did not want to waste his brain cells. Seeing that Tang Zheng was not afraid at all, Scarface felt that his dignity was being challenged. "I am here to kill you, yet you are not afraid. This is simply preposterous. Little brat, kneel down and kowtow to me 3 times. Then I will let you die a quick death. Otherwise, I will let you die an ugly death." Tang Zheng shook his head and sighed. "If you want to kill someone, why don't you choose another place? You just had to choose here. It seems like today is the day you die." Haha, he actually said today is the day we die. This little brat must have been scared silly by us. Let's see who will die today. Brother Scarface, why are you still talking to him? Kill him. Scarface nodded. Okay, go, kill him. Tang Zheng did not pay attention to them. Instead, he lowered his head and looked at his phone. It was 12 o'clock. At midnight, the ghost gate opened. There was no ghost gate in this unmarked common graves, but wandering ghosts and evil spirits abided by this rule of time. A gust of cold wind blew, causing the surrounding weeds to rustle. In this silent night, the sound was particularly ear-piercing. Why did it suddenly become cold? Yes, it is windy. Everyone, hurry up and deal with it. Once we are done, we can go back and hug our wives to sleep. The bed is much warmer than here. It was already May. The weather was gradually getting hotter, but no one thought that it was abnormal for it to be so cold. Therefore, this group of minion did not have much brain. Tang Zheng was too lazy to pay attention to them. He did not even look at them. He directly turned around and walked into the darkness. Don't let him escape, Scarface shouted. Several people rushed towards Tang Zheng. Bang! Suddenly, they seemed to have bumped into something and were bounced back. Several people fell heavily on the ground. They were battered and exhausted. One of them shouted, Brother Scarface, this brat has an ambush. F***ck, we have so many people. Even if there is an ambush, we are not afraid. The surroundings were pitch black. Tang Zheng's light shone in their direction. They could not see anything. Therefore, they subconsciously thought that the thing they bumped into was Tang Zheng's accomplice. Kill, mother **kur, dare to ambush me. I will kill whoever comes. Scarface's face was fierce. If he could not complete this small task given by Brother Fei, then how would Brother Fei look at him in the future? He would also be ridiculed by others. Several people climbed up and waved their machetes towards the darkness. Bang! It was as if they had hit an iron plate. Several muffled sounds rang out. The machetes all bounced back, almost injuring themselves. Several people were shocked and shouted, Brother Scarface, this guy is very hard. We can't deal with him. Scarface saw that Tang Zheng had already walked into the darkness. Even with the flashlight, it could not shine too far. It was as if even the light could not penetrate the darkness. He naturally did not pay attention to this strange phenomenon. He was only afraid that if Tang Zheng ran away, then he would not be able to go back and explain to Brother Fei. Therefore, he held his machete and took the lead. He rushed forward and fiercely chopped the machete in his hand. It hit. He chopped the opponent, but this time it did not bounce back. It was as if he had chopped into a bone and was unable to move. F***ck, come and help me. Mother ***k, this guy will definitely die miserably. I might have chopped into his head. Scarface proudly said. Brother Scarface is mighty. You dare to block Brother Scarface. If God blocks you kill God, if Buddha blocks you kill Buddha. Several people flattered. Right, if a ghost blocks you also kill ghosts. Another henchman added. Scarface proudly laughed. This group of little brothers really knew how to talk. Several people grabbed the hilt of the machete. In the darkness, they could not see what was going on. They used all of their strength but still could not pull it out. This cut is too deep. I am really born with divine strength. Scarface proudly thought. Little brat, shine it on me. It might be easier to pull it out. One of the henchmen immediately took out his phone and turned on the flashlight. A beam of light shot out. In the darkness, it did not shine too far, but it was enough for several people to see what was in front of them. Several people opened their eyes wide, as if they wanted to see Brother Scarface's battle results. There was no shining white brain matter, only a black thing. The bright machete was wrapped in this black thing. What the hell is this? Scarface moved closer. A face appeared in the darkness, and it was very close to the scarred face. This face was lifeless, and there was a big hole in the face. It was dark, and it was impossible to see what was inside. A pair of eyes were bulging high, as if they could fall out at any time. Scarface's face became pale. Ghost. Chapter 135. Scarface screamed and fell to the ground. The other lackeys were also scared out of their wits. They turned around and ran, no longer caring about Scarface's life or death. No one thought that someone was purposely pretending to be a ghost to scare people. No one could pretend to be a ghost. Moreover, the machete was tightly gripped in the other party's hand. The men were unable to pull it out. If this was not a ghost, then could it still be a human? Who would have such great strength? This was indeed a ghost, an evil spirit. Normally, normal people would not be able to see evil spirits. However, the yin qi in the unmarked common graves was too strong. When people were stimulated by the yin qi, they would be able to see the evil spirit. When the evil spirit saw people running away, it chased after them. With a grab of its hand, the last person running was caught in its hand. Its bloody mouth bit down and that person's head was immediately separated from his body. Evil spirits were not only deadly to ghosts, they were also deadly to people. The yin qi angrily howled as several people madly ran. However, how could they outrun the evil spirit? In the blink of an eye, they were caught up. After a round of fighting, their heads were separated from their bodies. Scarface was dumbstruck. He was completely disheartened. Seeing his lackeys killed, he did not have any thoughts of resistance. No matter how arrogant he was before, saying that he was not afraid of ghosts and even said that he wanted to catch a ghost to play with, when he saw a real ghost, he was still scared out of his wits and his legs went soft. 1-0 He was lucky to escape, but he did not have the strength to run. He could only helplessly watch as the evil spirit killed his lackeys and then turned around to walk towards him. That scarred face was extremely frightening. Suddenly, the evil spirit sped up and rushed straight at him, grabbing him. He was like a little chick facing an eagle, pale and powerless. He could only watch as he was sent into the evil spirit's bloody mouth, a foul stench assailing his nostrils. Ah! An ear-piercing scream was deafening. His eyes rolled back and he directly fainted. Roar! Suddenly, a roar came from the distance. The evil spirit turned its head and also let out a roar. It then threw Scarface to the ground and rushed over. Tang Zheng walked step by step into the depths of the darkness. The cold feeling became more and more intense. This was not the cold of a world of ice and snow, but a kind of cold that chilled to the bone. However, he had the 9-yang saint body and also had true qi protecting his body. This yin qi could not harm him at all. With the help of the flashlight, he finally saw something. A huge figure crawled up from the ground. It was an evil spirit. This evil spirit was 2 meters tall and only had one ear. No one knew where its nose was. It was much more disgusting and terrifying than the evil spirit Tang Zheng had encountered in the morgue. However, what caught Tang Zheng's attention the most was the hat that the evil spirit was wearing. As long as one was a citizen of this country, they would be very familiar with this hat and would have a very deep impression of it. The Japanese. Tang Zheng's eyes widened. Yes, this was the cap of the Japanese soldier who had invaded this country decades ago. Although his clothes were tattered, Tang Zheng could finally see clearly that it was the Japanese military uniform. Tang Zheng suddenly realized that this place was once a battlefield and many people had died. It turned out that it was the battlefield of the Japanese and Hua Xia ancestors. And this evil spirit was so tall that it must have devoured many of Hua Xia ancestors' souls. Tang Zheng's eyes were bloodshot. When these Japanese were alive, they burned and plundered Hua Xia's land. Now that they are dead, they are still here to harm Hua Xia's souls. A wave of hot blood rushed to his head. Tang Zheng's body surged with killing intent. The black sword sensed his emotions and also began to buzz and tremble. It was filled with fighting spirit. Kill! Tang Zheng roared and soared into the air. Holding the sword with both hands, he looked down from above and slashed down. The force of 10,000 pounds fell on the evil spirit's head. The evil spirit felt danger. It roared and blocked with both hands. Puff! The black sword fell. Black light flashed and the 2 arms fell to the ground. They turned into a wisp of black gas and were sucked into the black sword. The evil spirit lost its arms, but it was not afraid. Instead, it revealed its ferocious nature and roared into the sky. Suddenly, a series of roars rose and fell. Tang Zheng looked around. With the help of the flashlight, he could vaguely see many things crawling out from the darkness. They were definitely evil spirits. They were densely packed and countless. Tang Zheng was not afraid. His fighting spirit was even higher. He roared, "Kill!" He soared into the air and flew over the evil spirit's head. With a sweep of the black sword, a huge head rolled down. The huge body instantly collapsed and turned into black gas, becoming a delicacy for the black sword. Tang Zheng picked up the flashlight and hurriedly shone it. As expected, evil spirits were everywhere. They were all dressed up as Japanese. Back then, the Japanese were not the only ones who died here. Senior Hua Xia was also here. But now, only the evil spirits were left. This was enough to show that they had devoured many of Hua Xia's heroic souls. Tang Zheng's blood was boiling and burning as he wanted to start a massacre. He was unable to participate in the war that decided the fate of this country a few decades ago, but today, he was determined to slaughter all of the evil spirits that were causing trouble here. He wanted to start a massacre. Roar! He roared at the Japanese evil spirits around him. Back then, the Huaxia seniors must have roared and roared like this as well. Tang Zheng's voice completely ignited the evil spirit's ferocious nature. They all rushed forward. Tang Zheng held a sword in one hand and a flashlight in the other. He rushed towards the enemy camp. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The sword light flashed. Although it was not dazzling, it was filled with killing intent. It danced among the evil spirits. Heaven flying immortal. That agile and elegant sword light was like a fairy descending from the sky. It wanted to get rid of these ugly fellows and return the world to a bright and peaceful state. The evil spirits kept roaring and trying to block the black sword in Tang Zheng's hand. But it was all in vain. Wherever Tang Zheng passed, the evil spirits would be decapitated. They scattered into yin qi and were absorbed by the black sword. After absorbing so much yin qi, the black sword seemed to be increasing its strength. It was even more compatible with Tang Zheng's heaven-flying immortal. In an instant, half of the 100 or so evil spirits were killed by Tang Zheng. The night became even gloomier and the battle intent was even higher. Roar! A sharp roar came from behind the evil spirits. The evil spirits suddenly stopped attacking and automatically parted to the side, revealing a path. Tang Zheng looked at this scene in astonishment. He did not know what had happened. Bang! 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 The ground seemed to be shaking. The dull sound of footsteps gradually approached. Tang Zheng saw a 3-meter-tall evil spirit walking over. From the military uniform it was wearing, it should be an official. There was no doubt that it had swallowed more souls to grow so tall. Kid, this evil spirit is not to be underestimated. You must be careful. Tian Chanzi warned. Tang Zheng locked his gaze on the evil spirit. Without wasting any time, he pushed off with the tip of his foot. Like a whirlwind, he charged forward. The evil spirit also came forward. He actually had a weapon in his hand. It was a samurai sword. In the past, many heartless evil spirits used this kind of samurai sword to kill their Hua Xia compatriots. They even treated it as a game. This samurai sword was not condensed from yin qi. It was a real samurai sword. Clang! The sword and saber clashed, causing sparks to fly. Tang Zheng felt a huge force coming from his hand. It was clear that Tian Chanzi was not lying. This evil spirit was not comparable to the other evil spirits. Its strength was really strong. But so what if it was strong? Tang Zheng would not back down. He had to kill them. The Japanese military officer stared at Tang Zheng with its large eyes, an ominous glint flashing in its eyes. Even after tens of years, its eyes still carried an insufferably arrogant look. Tang Zheng met its gaze. He was not afraid at all. He disdained the arrogance in its eyes. Today, I will dig out your arrogant eyeballs and ruthlessly chop them up. Tang Zheng let out a low roar. He soared into the sky and stabbed his black sword towards the evil spirit's head. To kill an evil spirit, the head must be chopped off. Injuring other parts of the body was not fatal. Even if it was the heart, it was because they did not have a heart. The evil spirit raised its saber with both hands and vigorously chopped down. Clang! There was another flash of fire. But this time, the sword and saber did not separate. Instead, they faced each other. Peng! Tang Zheng's feet landed on the ground, causing the ground to tremble. The samurai sword pressed down, causing Tang Zheng's arm to involuntarily bend. The evil spirit's strength was too great. Moreover, it was tall and big. Looking down from above, its attack power was multiplied. Tang Zheng's eyes were about to split open. He clenched his teeth and hurriedly circulated the ancient clear heaven scroll. Powerful qi poured into the black sword. Hong, the black sword blazed with a black light. Tang Zheng's arm was lifted up bit by bit. Seeing this, the evil spirit roared. The evil spirits in all directions seemed to have received an order and instantly charged towards Tang Zheng. Despicable! Tang Zheng clenched his teeth. Seeing the evil spirits charging towards him, if he did not block, then these evil spirits would be enough to tear him to shreds. Thus, he let out a low roar and lowered his body. Taking advantage of the momentum, he rolled and dodged the samurai sword. The samurai sword fiercely chopped into the ground, creating a large crack. It was clear how terrifying its strength was. Tang Zheng somersaulted like a carp. The evil spirits had already charged in front of him. Shua, the black sword chopped down as if it was cutting through thistles and thorns. The evil spirits charging at the front were split in two. But the evil spirits behind him continued to charge forward dauntlessly. With a flick of his wrist, he drew out a sword flower. Shua, 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 the heaven-flying immortal's nimbleness and elegance was displayed to the fullest. The only thing that could be seen was the sword light flying through the evil spirits, and one after another large heads fell to the ground. In this breath of time, he had killed another 10 evil spirits. Seeing this, the Japanese officer angrily roared and blocked Tang Zheng's path, preventing him from killing the evil spirits. This evil spirit is too tall and strong. It is indeed difficult to deal with. Tang Zheng's thoughts raced as he searched for the enemy's weak point. This series of attacks had consumed a lot of his qi. It was impossible for him to fight endlessly. Suddenly, his gaze fell on the evil spirit's legs. That's right, since you're so tall, then I'll cut off your legs. Let's see what use your tall body has. Tang Zheng madly sprinted forward again, directly attacking the evil spirit's legs. The samurai sword fell from the sky and landed in front of Tang Zheng, blocking his path. The evil spirit seemed to know that his weak point was his legs, so he guarded them very tightly. Damn it! So cunning. Tang Zheng naturally would not give up. He continued to persevere in attacking the evil spirit's lower body. Kill. Suddenly, a heaven-shaking roar sounded out from behind Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng was startled. These evil spirits had not opened their mouths to speak, so who was the one that shouted out the Hua Xia word kill? Chapter 136. Before Tang Zheng had the time to turn around, he saw the Japanese officer roaring behind him, and a gust of cold wind swept over from behind him. Ferry search, download novel for free. Tang Zheng didn't know what was behind him, but he subconsciously felt danger. With a tap of his foot, he jumped to the side, dodging the gust of cold wind. He saw a similarly huge body rushing towards the Japanese officer. Kill. So this word came from the mouth of this huge creature, full of grandeur. Tang Zheng stared blankly at this huge creature. Hua Xia's face was ashen, but his face was still intact. He wore a military cap on his head, and his military uniform had already rotted into strips of cloth. However, one could vaguely make out that this was Hua Xia's military uniform, the Hua Xia soldier who fought against the Japanese in the past. However, it was clear that he had also become an evil spirit, and had become an enemy of the Japanese officer. This was because he charged forward without any regard for his own safety, and the heavy broadsword in his hand fiercely chopped down on the Japanese officer's head. This broadsword was also a real broadsword, not condensed from yin qi. Both sides were tall, and suddenly it was like two giants fighting. Each move was powerful, and the momentum was terrifying. Little brat, these two were sworn enemies when they were alive. After they died, they turned into evil spirits, but they still maintained their nature. That's why they fought to the death. With this helper, your pressure will be much less. Tian Chanzi explained. A sense of admiration arose spontaneously. This Hua Xia officer, in order to protect his country, had fought against the Japanese. After he died, he actually changed into another form to continue fighting against these invaders. This spirit touched him deeply. This was a type of soul, the soul of a soldier, the soul of Hua Xia, a type of soul that would never stop fighting. Battle soul. The battle between the battle soul and the Japanese officer was very intense. Tang Zheng couldn't help for the time being, and when the evil spirits saw their leader being attacked, they swarmed towards the battle soul. Stop! Tang Zheng gave a loud roar as he raised his sword and blocked in front of the battle soul. The sword's light intertwined to form an impenetrable wall, and any Japanese evil spirits that charged over were immediately killed, turning into strands of black gas that were absorbed by the black sword. The war spirits crisis was temporarily alleviated, but Tang Zheng's hatred for these hateful Japanese evil spirits had seeped into his bones. He turned into a whirlwind and charged into the enemy's camp. His sword flashed, and one head after another flew into the sky. Countless amounts of black chi swirled around the wasteland, and even the black sword could not absorb it all. But Tang Zheng couldn't care less. His goal was to kill all the evil Japanese spirits. Only when the last evil Japanese spirit fell under his sword did he let out a sigh of relief. His body was already drenched in sweat. This battle was really satisfying, and it allowed him to vent most of the anger in his heart. The black sword was so excited that it trembled non-stop. The sword hummed incessantly as it continued to absorb the yin qi on the wasteland. It was really a strong yin qi, and its movements were not small. Not long after, it had finished absorbing the yin qi. Tang Zheng took a deep breath and calmed himself down. He turned around and looked at the other battlefield. The battle between the battle soul and the Japanese officer had already reached its climax. Both sides seemed to be very familiar with each other's moves and attack patterns. They had probably fought countless times, and had probably been like this for the past few years. However, neither side could really kill the other. When the Japanese officer saw Tang Jing killing the Japanese evil spirits one by one like carrots, he immediately roared in anger. He wanted to come over and help, but he was entangled by the battle soul and could not get away. At this moment, when he saw Tang Zheng slaughtering all the Japanese evil spirits, he became even more ferocious. He forced the battle soul back with a slash and then rushed towards Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng roared and rushed over, directly towards the battle soul's lower body. The battle soul also chased from behind, attacking from the front and back. One from the top and one from the bottom. The two attacks were seamless. Dang! The katana blocked Tang Zheng's black sword. Tang Zheng was bounced back, while the battle soul's large blade fell on the Japanese officer's back. Crash! A large hole opened up, and wisps of black chi came out. The Japanese officer roared, turned around and rushed towards the battle soul. Tang Zheng took the opportunity to attack his lower body from behind. The Japanese officer could no longer care about Tang Zheng. With a poochie sound, Tang Zheng had succeeded in cutting off one of his legs. Putong! The Japanese officer staggered and fell to the ground. The battle soul took advantage of the situation and chopped down with its large blade, aiming directly for his head. The Japanese officer saw that the situation was not good, and hurriedly raised his katana with both hands to block the battle soul's large blade. Of course, Tang Zheng would not let go of this heaven-sent opportunity. A figure flashed and pounced towards the Japanese officer's other leg. The Japanese officer seemed to have sensed something, and actually retracted his leg, causing Tang Zheng's attack to miss. Then, the Japanese officer flipped in the air and actually stood up on one leg. Tang Zheng was secretly speechless. The Japanese officer's reaction was too sharp. Under this kind of pincer attack, he was actually able to narrowly dodge. However, in the end, it only had one leg left, and the feeling of standing on one leg was not good. The war spirit's attacks were large and powerful, and the Japanese officer staggered left and right, almost unable to stand steadily. Hey, this is the time. I'll chop off your other leg. Let's see what you can do. Tang Zheng lowered his body, and quietly appeared behind the Japanese officer. A black light flashed, and the black sword chopped down. The Japanese officer finally realized that something was wrong behind him, and hurriedly turned his head, but it was too late. A large leg flew up. Boom! With a loud sound, the Japanese officer who had lost both his legs fell to the ground. "Ha, let's see how you're going to fight now." Tang Zheng was overjoyed, and flew towards the Japanese officer's head. It raised its katana with difficulty to block. Catcher! With a crisp sound, the black sword chopped the katana in half. The Japanese officer was stunned for a moment, as if he could not believe what had just happened. The katana was previously supported by the Japanese officer's strength, so it was able to contend with the black sword. Now that the Japanese officer was seriously injured, the katana naturally became an ordinary weapon, and was no match for the black sword. Tang Zheng followed up with another strike, and with a puchi, the head fell to the ground, turning into a cloud of black gas. The battle soul stopped, and stared at the scene with its big eyes. It looked at the Japanese officer who was turning into a cloud of black gas, and then looked at Tang Zheng who was holding the black sword with one hand. For a moment, it seemed to be in a daze, and did not move. The black gas was quickly absorbed by the black sword, but the battle soul still did not move, and just stared blankly at the scene. "Little brat, this big guy is an evil spirit. You can also destroy it," Tian Chanzi suggested. "No, he is the heroic spirit of a Hua Xia soldier. How can I destroy him?" Tang Zhang rejected. "What do you know? He is now an evil spirit, and evil spirits are extremely aggressive. In the future, if other people enter this place, they will also be attacked by him. In the past, he only maintained a trace of his original nature to fight against the Japanese evil spirit. Now that the other party is dead, his original nature will gradually disappear, and he will become an evil spirit that only knows how to kill. If you don't destroy him, he will cause the deaths of innocent people in the future. Moreover, if you let him wander in this world, he will become a lonely ghost. Do you think this is good for him?" Tang Zheng was silent. Tian Chanzi was right. If Tang Zheng did not destroy him, he would definitely hurt people in the future. Moreover, he would hurt the people he once protected in Hua Xia. He definitely did not want to see such a thing happen. However, Tang Zheng admired his original nature, and could not bear to destroy him like this. "Tian Chanzi, is there any way to compromise? Not only can I not hurt him, but I can also protect him. Kid, sometimes you are too soft-hearted. His situation is definitely not an exception in this land. Do you think you can save all of them?" Tian Chanzi lectured. Tang Zheng's face was firm and unwavering. He resolutely said, "I don't have that much ability, but if I meet him, I will save him." Tian Chanzi, don't be long-winded. Are you going to help or not? Tian Chanzi sighed, I really don't know what to do with you. Okay, I will help you this time. The best way to protect this big guy is to find him a place to live. Don't let him wander between heaven and earth. Tang Zheng said dejectedly, where am I going to find him a place to live? I can't bring him home, right? Bring him home? Do you want your grandfather's life? Of course not. Since you said so, you must have a way. Hurry up and say it. Don't dilly-dally. Tang Zheng impatiently urged. Black sword, the black sword in your hand is his place of residence. Just like how the black-clothed man imprisoned the black monarch snake's soul in the black sword, you can also absorb him into the black sword. Really? Doesn't the black sword like to absorb yin qi? The war spirit is condensed from yin qi. Won't it be absorbed by the black sword? Tang Zheng asked worriedly. You really are an idiot. You are the master of the black sword. It will do whatever you tell it to do. How would it dare to absorb this big guy's yin qi? On the contrary, the more yin qi the black sword absorbs, the more it can nourish him. Maybe it can even increase his strength. No matter how much he increases, he is still an evil spirit. He has no consciousness and is muddle-headed. It is a pity to see him like this. Tang Zheng could imagine that the war spirit must have been a famous general. However, after his death, he became a muddle-headed evil spirit. It made people sigh endlessly. Tian Chanzi chuckled, that is not necessarily true. When your cultivation reaches a certain level in the future, maybe you will think of a way to help him regain his consciousness. Really? Tang Zheng was overjoyed. This was the best-case scenario. Of course it's true. When have I, Tian Chanzi, ever lied? However, it is useless for you to understand this now. This is a great divine ability. You can comprehend it yourself in the future. Tian Chanzi pretended to be mysterious as he said. If you don't want to say it, then don't say it. However, since there is a way, then I am relieved. Tang Zheng looked at the war spirit and smiled. Unknowingly, the dark clouds in the sky had dissipated and the moonlight shone on the war spirit's body. He stood there alone. His body was tall and indomitable. However, he gave off a strong sense of loneliness. Tang Zheng's heart moved as if he had felt something. His companions have all sacrificed themselves. He is the only one left in this world. This is indeed a great loneliness. No matter, war spirit, I will accompany you in the future. We will fight against the heavens and the earth. Let us continue to fight. Tang Zheng's fighting spirit was ignited and his eyes lit up. Coincidentally, the war spirit lowered his head and looked at each other. A low roar escaped from his mouth. Kill. Chapter 137. The word kill was filled with murderous intent, filled with boundless power. A gust of cold wind swept over, rushing towards Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng narrowed his eyes, looking at the war spirit in astonishment. He saw the war spirit raise the large blade with both hands, chopping down at Tang Zheng's head. Hehe, little brat, how was it? I was right, evil spirits like to kill. Tian Chanzi said proudly. Tang Zheng leaned to the side to avoid the blade. The heavy blade struck the ground, creating a large crack. Tian Chanzi, don't be sarcastic. Hurry up and tell me, how do I absorb the war spirit into the black sword? Tian Chanzi did not want to be enemies with the war spirit, so he quickly moved to avoid the attack. You have to press down on his head, then use a secret technique to control his mind. Only then can you absorb him into the black sword. Tian Chanzi said. My head. Tang Zheng looked at the 3-meter-tall war spirit and shrunk his neck, dodging the blade that swept towards him. Climbing onto his head was not an easy task. After all, the threat of the war spirit's large blade was not small. Okay, you tell me the secret technique first. Tian Chanzi immediately imparted the technique to Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng felt it, then he tiptoed and soared into the sky. The war spirit's blade slashed down, wanting to split Tang Zheng in two. Clang! The blade and sword clashed, and Tang Zheng fell heavily to the ground. I don't believe that I can't go up. Tang Zheng clenched his teeth and once again rushed up. This time, the war spirit's blade was merciless. Tang Zheng did not use the black sword to block, but instead used the tip of his foot to tap on the heavy broadsword. Borrowing the rebounding force of the broadsword, he leapt into the air and dangerously jumped onto Zhon Hun's shoulder. His large hand immediately pressed down on Zhon Hun's head as he used the secret technique. The war soul raised its blade and chopped down on Tang Zheng's head, as if it wasn't afraid of being cut in half. That indomitable aura seemed to want to cut Tang Zheng in half. However, Tang Zheng acted as if he didn't see it. The chilly wind blew in his face, but he remained calm and collected, concentrating on executing the secret technique. Suddenly, the large blade stopped, and the ferocious light in the war spirit's eyes gradually dissipated. Collect! Tang Zheng let out a low shout. The black sword glowed brightly under the bright moonlight. Whoosh! The war soul's huge body twisted, and in an instant, it turned into a cloud of black gas and flew into the black sword. With a clang, the war soul's large blade fell to the ground and broke into pieces. Without the support of the battle soul, the blade had finally completed its historical mission. Tang Zheng landed firmly on the ground and let out a sigh of relief. He patted Black Sword and said, "Battle soul, from now on you will be by my side. We will fight side by side." Wang. Black Sword trembled, not knowing if it was Black Sword or the War Soul responding to him. Black Sword, from now on you and the War Soul will become one. I will bestow upon you a name. From now on, you are the War Soul, and the War Soul is you. The sword's cry soared into the sky. From this moment on, Black Sword had a new name, War Soul. Black Sword seemed to have sensed something, and with a flash of black light, Tang Zheng saw two words near the sword's hilt: War Soul. Tang Zheng smiled in satisfaction, and raised his head to look at the wasteland. In the future, without these evil spirits, maybe after a while, this piece of land would be used to build high-rise buildings. He could be considered to have removed a huge threat for ordinary balance. His gaze subconsciously looked towards the road, and under the moonlight, he could faintly see a few corpses crawling on the ground. He shook his head without pity. When he heard the series of screams, he didn't make a move because Scarface and his gang wanted to kill him, and he wasn't so kind as to save them. After all, he was someone who abhorred evil. Clap, clap, clap. Suddenly, a series of applause sounded, and it was especially clear and piercing in the silent night. Tang Zheng's relaxed nerves suddenly tensed up, and he looked towards the direction of the sound with vigilance. He saw a person standing under the moonlight, and he didn't know how long he had been hiding there. Tang Zheng was so focused on fighting that he didn't notice him at all. Wonderful, wonderful. The applause disappeared, and an old voice sounded. This voice was like a low whisper, but it reached Tang Zheng's ears without missing a word. Tang Zheng held the war soul tightly, and raised his guard. He had used up a lot of energy in the battle just now, and if the other party was an enemy, then he would be in trouble. Who are you? The other party didn't answer, but walked directly towards Tang Zheng. His steps were small, but the distance of tens of meters was covered in an instant. Tang Zheng's pupils shrank, and he became more vigilant. Kid, this is the shrinking earth technique. This person is not simple. Tian Chanzi reminded. Shrinking earth technique, why haven't I heard you mention it before? Tang Zheng asked suspiciously. There are so many techniques in this world, how can I tell you all of them? In short, remember, I feel that this person is not a good person, so if there is a situation, run for your life. You are not his opponent. Tian Chanzi had never been so vigilant, and this showed that the situation was really not optimistic. It's been a long time since I've seen such a big battle, it's really an eye-opener. The person stood 3 meters away from Tang Zheng, and stared at him closely. Tang Zheng was finally able to clearly see the other party's appearance. It was an old man dressed in black, as if he was one with the night. He had a white beard and a pair of eyes that were like those of an eagle, bright and sharp, with a kind of soul-stirring magic. I've been looking for people like me, and I didn't expect that this ordinary balance trip would finally come true. The other party continued to say. Same kind of people. Tang Zheng frowned, and his heart moved. Are you a cultivator? Of course. The old man raised his neck, and seemed somewhat arrogant. This was the second cultivator that Tang Zheng had encountered, and it was not a good thing for cultivators to appear in his world one after another, because he was still too weak. Then I don't know what you want? Tang Zheng asked. Previously, I found that the qi between heaven and earth was chaotic, and the yin qi was rich, so I came to take a look. I didn't expect to see you, this is really the will of heaven. Tang Zheng suddenly realized that the battle here had disturbed the qi between heaven and earth, and attracted the other party. Of course, ordinary people would not be aware of the changes in the qi between heaven and earth, but cultivators absorbed the qi of heaven and earth into their body and transformed it into true qi, so they were particularly sensitive to the changes in the qi between heaven and earth. I came to ordinary balance to look for you, and I accidentally saw you. You say, is this not the will of heaven? The old man said with a faint smile on his face, but this smile did not give people a warm feeling, and instead gave people a cold feeling. Looking for me? Tang Zheng was shocked, and his heart had an ominous premonition. Who are you? The sword in your hand is my disciple's, and you say who I am. The old man's pupils shrank, and he stared at the black sword soul, but his smile did not diminish, and he coldly asked. You are that black-clothed man's master? Tang Zheng's ominous premonition was finally confirmed. Hey, it seems that you have not forgotten my disciple, and I am his master, Daoist Tianji. Seeing your performance tonight, it is normal for him to die in your hands, but as his master, of course I will take revenge for him. The old man said slowly. Daoist Tianji, TSK, this person really dares to use this name. Truly, the ignorant are fearless. With such little strength he dares to call himself Daoist Tianji. Tian Chanzi snorted. Tang Zheng did not pay attention to Tian Chanzi's ridicule, and instead raised his spirits and asked, "Then what do you want? You killed my disciple, so of course I will kill you, but it is really a pity, it is so hard to find someone of the same kind, and I have to kill you like this, the future days will be very boring." Daoist Tianji sighed. "You have never seen other cultivators?" Daoist Tianji regretfully shook his head. Now is the world of martial artists, and cultivators are withered, as rare as phoenix feathers and unicorn horns. Wanting to find a cultivator is easier said than done. I once suspected that there were no more cultivators. I once found one, but he was killed by me, and you are the second one. Tang Zheng did not think that he was more precious than a giant panda, and the old man only found 2 cultivators after dozens of years, so perhaps there really were no more cultivators in this world. Bullshit, how could there be no more cultivators? The strength of cultivators is beyond your imagination, how could they disappear so easily? Even if it was in the competition between martial artists and cultivators back then, it would be impossible to eliminate all of the cultivators, absolutely impossible. The heaven monk had already retorted angrily. Tang Zheng's heart moved. After thousands of years, the sea has turned into mulberry fields, and anything is possible. Absolutely impossible, don't listen to his nonsense. He is just a small cultivator at the first grade of the foundation establishment stage, yet he dares to say that there are no more cultivators in this world. How preposterous, he is simply a frog at the bottom of a well. Heaven monk continued to criticize. Tang Zheng decided to temporarily throw this question to the back of his mind, and think about it later. Right now, he had to deal with this first-grade foundation establishment Daoist Tianji. Tang Zheng was a 6th-grade refining qi, and there was a difference of 4 grades between him and the opponent. This was not a small gap, and he had just experienced a great battle, while the opponent was waiting for him to tire himself out, so there was no way to fight this battle. Daoist Tianji saw that Tang Zheng did not say a word, so he continued to talk. "So I am very curious how you became a cultivator. Since we are the same kind of people, why not share this secret? After all, other people do not understand our world, otherwise after I kill you, no one will know this secret, and it will not be passed down, wouldn't that be a pity?" After saying 1,000 words, Daoist Tianji still wanted to pry into Tang Zheng's secret. Since there were so few cultivators in this world, and he finally met one, he would spare no effort to pry into the other's secret. Because of this, he was not in a rush to make a move, as he had already seen that Tang Zheng was a 6th-grade refining qi, and he was confident that he could easily defeat him. No comment. Tang Zheng coldly refused. "Ha ha, young and impetuous, you are quite similar to my disciple, but I do not like this kind of temper, because what I want to know, what I want to do, no one can stop me. That year, that cultivator wanted to stop me, and was killed by me." Daoist Tianji's tone gradually turned cold, and the smile on his face also disappeared. "Originally, I wanted to let you live for a bit longer, so that we could chat a bit more. You should know that people like us are very lonely, but it seems that you do not have this honor. Once I take you down, I will naturally have a way to find out everything about you." As his voice fell, killing intent filled the sky. Chapter 138. A sword appeared in Daoist Tianji's hand. It glinted with a cold light as it rapidly pierced towards Tang Zheng. The 3-meter distance was closed in an instant, and the powerful pressure caused people to involuntarily gasp for breath. Tang Zheng raised his sword to block. Ding-dang clashed with Tang Zheng, and Daoist Tianji was forced back several meters. It could be seen just how powerful Daoist Tianji was. "Young man, you are not my opponent. Just give up," Daoist Tianji said with satisfaction. Tang Zheng coldly snorted and used the transcendent flying immortal. The nimble sword technique caused Daoist Tianji's eyes to light up. "Good sword technique. Young man, you actually have such an exquisite sword technique. This is truly unexpected. Heh, this is an unexpected gain." Daoist Tianji was clearly envious of the transcendent flying immortal. "This kind of exquisite sword technique in your hands is a waste of a heavenly treasure. Then you should bring it to greater heights for me." Daoist Tianji's attacks were like a storm, causing the pressure on Tang Zheng to increase. "Young man, quickly run. You are not his opponent, so why are you tangling with him?" Tian Chanzi anxiously said. But how can I escape? His attacks are surrounding me from all sides, so there is no way to escape. Tang Zheng did not think that the opponent's attacks would have such terrifying power. It was completely different from the level of the black-clothed man from before. This was the difference in cultivation. It was simply impossible to surmount the heavenly moat. True fire. If you use true fire to attack, you will definitely be able to catch him off guard. As long as you can distract him, then you can escape. Tian Chanzi reminded. Tang Zheng moved and stabbed out with his sword. Daoist Tianji laughed loudly. This little bit of attack is simply too weak. He raised his sword to meet the attack. The swords intersected, creating intense sparks. Tang Zheng's hand went past the sword and grabbed at Daoist Tianji. Daoist Tianji saw this and disdained it. He also stretched out his hand as if he wanted to grab Tang Zheng. His movements were faster and fiercer than Tang Zheng's. In a flash, he grabbed Tang Zheng's hand and laughed. "Young man, you've lost. You can't escape." Tang Zheng's eyes turned cold as the corners of his mouth curled up into a sneer. "Not necessarily." Boom. A faint purple flame shot up from his hand and quickly spread to Daoist Tianji's hand. "What is this?" "True fire." Daoist Tianji jumped in fright before disdainfully saying, "You want to use true fire to hurt me? What a joke." However, this was clearly not a joke. As soon as he finished speaking, his calm and collected expression finally changed. He shrieked, "How is this possible? How can this true fire hurt me?" The true fire could indeed injure him. The true fire quickly spread from his arm to the rest of his body, almost turning him into a flaming man. Normally, even if a cultivator's true fire was attached to another cultivator's body, as long as the other party used their cultivation to block off the true fire would not be a problem and would not be able to hurt the other party. Daoist Tianji also wanted to do this, but after he used his cultivation, he found that he could not block off the true fire. Moreover, the true fire was quickly spreading through his body as if it wanted to burn him from the outside to the inside. Immediately, he was scared out of his wits. This strange phenomenon made him realize the danger. He shouted in disbelief, "How did you do it?" Tang Zheng did not have the heart to reply. Taking advantage of Daoist Tianji's release of his hand, Tang Zheng took the opportunity to send a palm over. Peng! Daoist Tianji's chest was imprinted with a palm print. His black clothes were instantly burned away, revealing his bare chest. Moreover, the true fire was still drilling into his skin. "Now is the time. Quickly run," Tian Chanzi urged. Tang Zheng understood that even though he used the true fire to injure Daoist Tianji, to truly kill him was easier said than done. Therefore, Tang Zheng did not chase after him and instead turned to run. "Stop. I will cut your corpse into 10,000 pieces." Daoist Tianji crazily roared. He did not care about the injuries from the true fire as he chased after him. The power of spatial bending was displayed. Tang Zheng had already run over 1,000 meters when Daoist Tianji suddenly caught up to him. Tang Zheng jumped in fright. He turned around and sent out a palm full of true fire. Daoist Tianji subconsciously dodged and Tang Zheng took the opportunity to quickly escape. Daoist Tianji angrily roared, "Stop." He once again used spatial bending to give chase. This repeated until the two of them reached the city center. Luckily, it was the latter half of the night, so there was basically no one on the streets. Otherwise, they would have been scared silly by this scene. One person was madly running in front. His speed was extremely fast, like a whirlwind. The other person was relentlessly chasing after him. The key point was that his body was covered in flames. It was just too strange. "Ah!" Suddenly, Daoist Tianji pitifully cried out. He could not help but stop running. He rushed towards Tang Zheng's back and roared, "Little brat, I will not let you go." The true fire had already completely enveloped him. He had been busy chasing after Su Mo, so he had no way to multitask to suppress the true fire. Now that his body could no longer take it, he hurriedly stopped and circulated his qi to suppress the true fire. The true fire slowly decreased. After a moment, it completely disappeared. Daoist Tianji's body was already charred black. His clothes were tattered and he no longer had a majestic appearance. He simply looked like a beggar. "Little brat, if I catch up to you, I will definitely cut your corpse into 10,000 pieces." Daoist Tianji once again madly ran, but Tang Zheng had already disappeared without a trace. However, this was not a problem for him as he was after all an expert and had some skill in tracking people. Once he determined the general direction, he would not stop chasing. Tang Zheng saw that Daoist Tianji had stopped, but he did not slow down. He continued to madly run. A moment later, he heard a roar from behind him. He knew that the other party had caught up. Daoist Tianji had the earth-shrinking technique, so there was no way that Tang Zheng could outrun him. "This won't do. I can't just randomly run around like this. I need to find a place to hide." Tang Zheng raised his head to look. "Yi, why does this place seem so familiar? Especially that small villa in front. Isn't that Fang Shusha's house?" His mind raced as he directly rushed into the courtyard and jumped in through the window. From afar, he could already hear Daoist Tianji's roar getting closer and closer. He familiarly arrived at Fang Shusha's door. He gently twisted the door lock and quietly walked in. "Who is it?" Fang Shusha suddenly sat up and asked in a panic. "Sure, it's me, Shusha," Tang Zheng hurriedly said. Fang Shusha was pleasantly surprised. Her little heart was beating rapidly. Sneaking into her room in the middle of the night, this motive was self-evident. This made her both shy and happy. "Tang Zheng, why are you here?" "Wait a moment, I'll turn on the lights." "Don't turn on the lights." Tang Zheng hurriedly stopped her. "Okay." Fang Shusha did not ask any more questions as she rushed off the bed and threw herself into Tang Zheng's embrace. "Why did you sneak into my house?" "Someone is chasing me." "Listen, there's someone shouting outside," Tang Zheng reminded. Fang Shusha was slightly disappointed. She originally thought that he came specifically to find her but was chased by someone. But hearing that he was being chased, she was still worried. She hurriedly said, "Who is chasing you?" "I'll go chase this bad guy away." "Don't. I'm not his match and you're even less of a match. We can't make a sound, otherwise it'll be bad if he finds out." There were so many houses here that Daoist Tianji couldn't possibly search each house one by one. Moreover, his shouting had already attracted attention. Many of the owners had already been woken up. In this kind of high-class villa district, there was no lack of patrolling security. Seeing this shabbily dressed fellow, they quickly ran over to stop him so that he wouldn't disturb the residents' dreams. How could these normal security guards be Daoist Tianji's match, so they were all flipped over. The more clever ones had already called the police. Daoist Tianji was caught in the middle of a war between the people, so he couldn't find any trace of Tang Zheng. Hearing the noise outside grow louder and louder, Fang Shusha said, "Let's hide on the bed. That bad guy definitely won't be able to find us." "Okay." Tang Zheng hugged her and climbed onto the bed in the darkness. Fang Shusha obediently laid in his embrace. "Who is the bad guy?" "A great demon who kills without batting an eye." Fang Shusha's delicate body trembled. Her hands couldn't help but hug his waist tightly. "Then isn't he very powerful?" "Yes, he's more powerful than me. But as long as we're careful, he won't be able to find us and I'll be safe. If you hide in my house, he definitely won't be able to find us." Tang Zheng hugged his girlfriend and listened attentively to the movements outside. It seemed like there was already an alarm going off. "It seems like the police should be here soon." He let out a sigh of relief as they were temporarily safe. "The police will definitely be able to capture the bad guy." Fang Shusha finished speaking as she found a comfortable position in his embrace and pressed even tighter against him. Tang Zheng declined to comment as the police definitely wouldn't be able to capture Daoist Tianji. However, they would still be able to intimidate the other party. Daoist Tianji was also very clear that he couldn't directly clash with these powerful mechanisms, otherwise he wouldn't be able to handle them. Of course, Tang Zheng wouldn't foolishly run out. Daoist Tianji definitely wouldn't go far and would hide in the shadows to spy on them. As long as Tang Zheng ran into him, Daoist Tianji would definitely kill him. Dong dong dong. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door, causing the two people hugging each other to jump in fright. "Shusha, Are you awake? Shi Mengqin's voice sounded. It's my mom. What should we do? Fang Shisha asked in a low voice. Don't let her in. Fang Shisha nodded her head. Mom, I'm awake. What happened? Why is it so noisy? I heard the security guard say that a madman came outside and has already been chased away. You should quickly go to sleep and don't get up. You still have class tomorrow. Oh, I know. The bad guy has been chased away. Fang Shisha happily said in a low voice. Tang Zheng let out a sigh of relief and said, Then you should quickly go to sleep. Are you leaving? Fang Shisha anxiously asked. I'm not leaving. Tang Zheng could only stay here tonight as he still couldn't leave Fang Shisha's bedroom. Otherwise, it would definitely cause a huge reaction from the Fang couple. If he were to cause a huge commotion in the middle of the night, it would definitely attract Daoist Chenji's attention and expose his whereabouts. I also don't want you to leave. I just want to hug you to sleep. I've never hugged you to sleep before. Fang Shisha sweetly said, Aya, you're still wearing clothes. It's not comfortable to hug you. Hurry and take them off. Tang Zheng had no choice but to take off his jacket in the darkness. Then, a warm body threw itself into his embrace. With a soft jade in his embrace, her fragrance assailed his nostrils. Chapter 139. Tang Zheng, I miss you. Fang Shisha murmured in a low voice, her voice was soft and sweet, instantly touching Tang Zheng's heart. Just now I dreamt of you, but the sound of you opening the door woke me up. You have to make it up to me. Dreamt of me? Then what did you dream of us doing? Tang Zheng curiously asked. Fang Shisha lightly bit her teeth and shyly said, I'm not telling you. Tang Zheng heard a strange tone and deliberately teased. Could it be that you did something bad to me in your dream, so you're too embarrassed to tell me? Fang Shisha quickly shook her head in denial. Of course not, it was clearly you who did something bad. How could it be me doing something bad? Tang Zheng chuckled and temporarily threw the matter of Daoist Tianji to the back of his mind. With a beauty in his arms, why would he think of that great demon? I'm such a righteous person, how could I do anything bad? Tang Zheng seriously retorted. Grandma Wang praises herself for selling melons. I'm just speaking the truth. Tang Zheng's hand on her waist slowly moved upwards. Fang Shisha hurriedly grabbed his hand. What are you doing? Just now I scared you, so now I'm going to properly comfort you and make it up to you for disturbing your beautiful dream. Tang Zheng solemnly said. Bad guy. How could Fang Shisha not understand his intentions? She bit her lip and coquettishly said. You dare to call me a bad guy, then I'm really going to do what bad guys do. Tang Zheng's hand grabbed those two peaks. Ah, don't. Fang Shisha's breathing involuntarily quickened, as if she really was made of water, softening into Tang Zheng's embrace. Sometimes when a woman says she doesn't want it, then she wants it. Tang Zheng of course wasn't stupid enough to not understand her true thoughts, so he increased the pace of his attack. Fang Shisha was wearing a nightgown. Tang Zheng's other hand reached under the nightgown, and her smooth and delicate thigh immediately fell into his palm. Fang Shisha's passion was completely aroused. She couldn't help but hug his head and press him against her chest. Tang Zheng's mind immediately sank into a sea of soft dogs. Breathing in the alluring fragrance, his blood almost boiled. He flipped over and pressed her under his body. Although the room was dark, it didn't affect their movements. Only a rustling sound could be heard, followed by deliberately suppressed moans and gasps. Will your parents hear us? Tang Zheng asked worriedly. No, my house is soundproof. With no more worries, Tang Zheng simply increased the intensity of his movements. Immediately, Fang Shisha's cries rose one after another, causing Tang Zheng's beast blood to boil even more. Fang Chongguo and Shi Mengqin were lying on the bed when Shi Mengqin suddenly sat up straight. She shook her husband and said, Chongguo, did you hear a strange sound? Fang Chongguo flipped over and said in a daze, What sound? Don't be so suspicious. Hurry up and go to sleep. Didn't the security say that the madman had already been chased away? Shi Mengqin tilted her head and listened for a while before muttering to herself, Just now I really did hear a sound. Something's not right. There's actually a madman in this area. What are these security guards doing? Let's not talk about this. Hurry up and go to sleep. I still have to go to the company early in the morning. Recently, there has been some progress in the demolition and I'm so busy that my feet don't even touch the ground. Tang Zheng, that little brat is really godly. That fire phoenix actually listened to him. Shi Mengqin was still puzzled. Don't look down on Tang Zheng. Before, I also thought that he wouldn't have any future prospects. But now that I've come into contact with him, I feel that I can't see through him. How old is he? 18 years old. 18 years old and he already has this kind of strength. Think about it, what were you doing when you were 18 years old? Fang Chongguo's interest was aroused by the topic of Tang Zheng. He felt that there was a need to give his wife a serious warning in order to avoid the kind of conflict from before. I was studying when I was 18. Right, he was also studying. But other than studying, he was also able to make this kind of big shot in the underworld deliberately try to rope him in. Moreover, think about it, his family simply couldn't give him any resources. Yet he has this kind of strength. Tell me, how much potential does he have? Fang Chongguo analyzed. Shi Mengqin pondered for a moment and felt ashamed. This little brat is really strange. However, that girl Shusha seems to have steeled her heart to follow him. Hey, this shows that our daughter's eyes are better than yours. Nowadays, there are so many men. To find one that is both pleasing and has strength is extremely difficult. Our daughter's eyes are good and her luck is also good. Why do you make that little brat sound so good? Our daughter is also not bad. However, I still have to keep a close eye on them. Right now, the two of them are so passionate. If they do anything out of the ordinary, then Shusha will suffer a big loss. Shi Mengqin said with worry. Fang Chongguo nodded his head. This point indeed needs to be taken note of. However, you shouldn't interfere too much. Otherwise, it will backfire. Although that girl Shusha's personality is weak, she is actually very stubborn. Once she has decided on something, even 10 horses won't be able to pull her back. Of course I know. She is just as stubborn as you. She is not like me at all. Shi Mengqin said with dissatisfaction. It's good that she is like me. If she was like you, then something big would happen. What did you say? Shi Mengqin stared with wide eyes. Okay, I won't say any more. Didn't you say you heard some movement? You go take a look. After you see, don't be so suspicious and quickly go to sleep. Fang Chongguo waved his hand and closed his eyes. Shi Mengqin coldly glared at her husband. Then, she put on a jacket and walked out. Looking around, she didn't find anything suspicious. Then, she walked to Fang Shusha's door. Shusha, are you asleep yet? The two people in the room were in the final stages of their sprint. However, they were frightened by this voice and suddenly stopped. The two people faced each other. Even in the darkness, they could feel the other person's strange and panicked expression. Why did your mom come back? Tang Zheng hugged Fang Shusha and said in a low voice. Fang Shusha hit his shoulder and said, How would I know? Shusha, are you asleep? Shi Mengqin asked from outside. What should we do? If your mom sees us, it will be very awkward. Do you think I want to be seen? Relax, we won't talk. She will think that I am asleep and will naturally leave. Tang Zheng let out an "oh" sound and slowed down his movements. Fang Shusha suppressed the feeling in her heart and patted his shoulder. Don't move. If you move again, my mom will find out. Didn't you say that the sound insulation in your house is very good? But my mom is at the door. No matter how good the sound insulation is, she will still hear a bit of movement. Fang Shusha was both embarrassed and anxious. She had always been an obedient and sensible girl. If her mother saw this scene, she really did not know how to face it. Tang Zheng also knew that the situation was serious and did not dare act rashly. Catcher. Suddenly, the sound of the door lock twisting sounded. The two people were shocked and Fang Shusha said in shock, Why didn't you lock the door? Just now, you didn't lock the door so I just opened it. What should we do? If my mom saw, wouldn't we be dead for sure? Fang Shusha was so anxious that her face turned red. Didn't you say that your mom wouldn't come in? She normally doesn't enter my house without my permission. Fang Shisha was so anxious that she was about to cry. Shi Mengqin was a bit paranoid because of that madman, so when she heard that her daughter did not reply, she wanted to come in and take a look. Hurry up and make a sound, stop your mother, otherwise she will come in. Tang Zheng quickly thought of something and hurriedly said. Fang Shisha did not have time to think and hurriedly shouted, Mom, what's wrong? I was about to fall asleep. Her voice trembled because of her nervousness, but Shi Mengqin clearly did not hear it. The sound of the door opening finally stopped and Shi Mengqin said, Oh, then hurry up and sleep. I just wanted to see if you were asleep. Mom, I'm going to sleep. You should also rest early. Then I'm going back to sleep. Who? The two people let out a sigh of relief at the same time. They looked at each other and almost could not help but laugh. This kind of experience was too exciting. It's all your fault. You almost made me lose face. Fang Shisha coquettishly said. I also didn't know that your mom would come back. Tang Zheng felt very innocent. Hurry up and lock the door. Don't wait for her to come back. That would be troublesome. Fang Shisha pointed at the door and warned. Okay, I'll go lock the door. Tang Zheng hurriedly got off the bed and carefully locked the door before leaping towards the bed. Be careful and hurry up. You were interrupted just now. So annoying. Yeah, your mom really doesn't want me to have a good time. This will scare people into impotence. Let me touch it. Fang Shisha naughtily stretched out her hand. How am I impotent? Liar. I have such a beautiful girlfriend and yet I'm impotent. Then wouldn't it be too much of a loss for me? Let's continue. Tang Zheng leaped forward and the room rang out again. Lower your voice. I suspect that just now it was your mom who heard something. Then slow down a bit. The two people in this kind of darkness felt both warm and a little worried. It was incomparably exciting and extremely erotic. It could be said that this was the most wonderful moment of life. But there were some people who were not so wonderful. Daoist Tianji was hiding in a corner, looking at the rows of villas and the dozens of police officers. Just now he had injured quite a few security guards. Adding on the fact that this was a villa district, the people who lived here were either rich or noble, so the police did not dare to be negligent. Without catching the real culprit, they did not dare to leave. They formed patrol teams in 2s and 3s to search the area, making it impossible for Daoist Tianji to get close. Daoist Tianji had never felt so vexed before. He was burned into a beggar by a little brat and was even chased by the police. This was really bad luck. But he did not intend to give up. Besides wanting to take revenge for his disciple, the more important reason was because of Tang Zheng's strange behavior. That exquisite sword technique and that strange true fire, he wanted to understand what was going on. He subconsciously felt that Tang Zheng's body must have a huge secret. If he knew this secret, then there would be great benefits. So, he definitely could not let Tang Zheng go. He did not even blink as he stared at the Tang Zheng who could appear at any time. The sky gradually turned white. Daoist Tianji had waited for an entire night but did not even see half of Tang Zheng's shadow. He could not help but feel disappointed and angry. Even if I have to dig 3 feet into the ground, I will still find him. He clenched his teeth and fiercely said to himself, Men, this madman is here. Quickly catch him. Suddenly, a policeman saw Daoist Tianji and hurriedly shouted. A large wave of policemen swarmed over. Chapter 140. Early in the morning, the air was fresh and the flowers were fragrant. Tang Zheng stretched and found that Fang Shisha was still sleeping. Her face was filled with a satisfied and happy smile, which was exceptionally beautiful. Last night, the two of them were very busy and only fell asleep in the middle of the night. Besides the last time they had intimate contact at Tang Zheng's new home, this was only the second time, so they didn't stop there. Instead, it was as fierce as a storm. Fang Shisha seemed to have adapted to him. She was immersed in this wonderful feeling and kept taking. Fortunately, Tang Zheng's stamina was strong enough. Of course, he completely conquered her, not only her heart, but also her body. Tang Zheng was used to waking up early. Although he slept very late and consumed a lot of energy, His body was different from ordinary people. He didn't feel uncomfortable at all. Instead, he was in high spirits. He also absorbed a lot of pure yin energy last night, so he wasn't in danger of exploding for a while. Fang Shusha's delicate face was flushed red, and her eyelashes suddenly blinked. Tang Zheng saw it and knew that she was already awake and was just pretending to be asleep, so he deliberately stretched his hand under the blanket and grabbed onto the softness that refreshed his heart. Her body trembled slightly. Although the two of them were very intimate, her body was still sensitive. Tang Zheng's gentle touch could make her heart tremble. Seeing that she was still pretending to be asleep, Tang Zheng simply increased the strength of his movements. Ah! Fang Shusha finally couldn't help but cry out softly. She opened her eyes and said coquettishly, "Doing bad things so early in the morning. You're asking for a beating. Last night, it seemed that someone liked my naughtiness very much and wanted me to be even naughtier." Tang Zheng's mouth slightly curved and said with a naughty smile, "Don't say it, don't say it." Fang Shusha hurriedly sat up and covered Tang Zheng's mouth. The quilt slipped down to her waist, and the alluring scenery of her upper body was exposed. Tang Zheng's claws were still on it. "You're exposed." Tang Zheng raised his eyebrows and joked. "Chimph, I won't let you see." Fang Shusha grabbed the quilt and broke free from Tang Zheng's evil clutches, covering the seductive scene. "I looked at it for a long time last night. I already know what it looks like. I can imagine it even without looking. You, bad egg." Fang Shusha's face was as red as a peach blossom. Her eyes looked like they were about to drip water. "Shusha, wake up and eat breakfast. I'll send you to school in a bit." Shi Mengqin called from outside the door. "Okay, Mom, I'll be down soon." "Quickly get up and put on your clothes," Fang Shusha urged. "Do you want me to help you put it on?" Tang Zheng volunteered. Fang Shusha glared at him and said, "I don't want it. You only know how to be naughty. You only know how to take off people's clothes." The two of them put on their clothes and washed up. When they walked to the door, Fang Shusha stopped and turned her head to look at Tang Zheng. She embarrassedly said, "What if my parents see you?" Tang Zheng shrugged his shoulders, not afraid in the slightest. In any case, they will find out sooner or later. It is better to find out sooner rather than later. Moreover, in the future it will be convenient for us to be together openly. Chimph, I'll let you off easy." Fang Shusha wrinkled her nose, looking extremely cute. With a creak, the door opened. The two of them held hands and walked up the winding staircase to the dining room. In the dining room, Fang Chonghua and Shi Mengqin were originally talking when they suddenly raised their heads and saw this scene. They simultaneously stopped and stared dumbfoundedly at the two of them. A trace of shyness flashed across Fang Shusha's face, but she did not let go of Tang Zheng's hand. Instead, she gathered her courage and naturally walked over with Tang Zheng. "Uncle, Auntie, good morning." Tang Zheng discovered that his face was becoming thicker and thicker. He was not flustered in the slightest, as if nothing had happened. On the contrary, Fang Shusha bashfully lowered her head, not daring to look at her parents. Seeing her bashful appearance, as experienced people, how could Fang Chonghua and Shi Mengqin not understand what had happened? They tacitly looked at each other and couldn't help but think of last night's topic. Didn't they plan on repeatedly reminding Fang Shusha about that kind of thing? But after only one night, it was already too late. Heavens, the two of them were about to collapse. This matter came too suddenly. Even the usually calm and collected Fang Chonghua's expression changed. Shi Mengqin glared at Fang Shusha and was about to flip out when Fang Chonghua saw that the situation was not good and hurriedly grabbed her hand. The matter had already happened, so flipping out would not help and would instead make the situation worse. It seems that his daughter had truly grown up. Fang Chonghua inwardly sighed. But last night when they went to sleep, Tang Zheng was clearly not in his home. How could he be standing in front of them now? However, this was not a problem for them as they automatically imagined Tang Zheng and Fang Shusha infiltrating their home. Shi Mengqin also suddenly remembered the strange sound she heard last night. It was definitely made by these two and she had almost opened the door and bumped into them. She was both a bit angry and a bit happy. After all, bumping into this kind of thing was too embarrassing. "Shusha, Come here and sit down. Shi Mengqin forcefully suppressed her anger and unhappily said. Fang Shisha obediently went over and sat down, pulling Tang Zheng to sit beside her. Fang Chongguo ordered the servants to add another set of chopsticks as his gaze fell on Tang Zheng's face. 4 pairs of eyes met. Seeing Fang Chongguo's complicated expression, Tang Zheng lightly coughed and calmly said, Uncle Fang, how are things going with the demolition? Fang Chongguo inwardly sighed. If it was him, he would definitely not be able to have such a calm and collected appearance. This Tang Zheng was truly not simple. But in this situation, he obviously could not give Tang Zheng too much face. Otherwise, he would not let this little brat take a mile after taking an inch. Therefore, Fang Chongguo did his best to make his expression serious and not appear angry as he solemnly said, the demolition has already begun. Boss Hua's company truly lives up to its name. That's good. Tang Zheng nodded his head and began to eat. Tang Zheng felt that he had to admire his own courage and determination. If it was before, he would definitely have a guilty conscience. But now that he had dealt with so many strange things, this situation did not make him feel guilty at all. Seeing the calm and collected Tang Zheng, Shi Mengqin fiercely glared at him. Then, she pulled Fang Shisha, who had almost finished eating, and said, Follow me. Fang Shisha reluctantly looked at Tang Zheng. Seeing Tang Zheng's encouraging gaze, she slightly nodded her head and followed her mother into a room. Stand properly. Shi Mengqin crossed her arms and began to criticize. Fang Shisha pouted her lips and complained, Mom, what are you doing? I'm still eating breakfast. What are you eating? You still have the mood to eat. Look at what you've done. Shi Mengqin was unable to restrain her anger as she tried her best to control her voice so that it would not spread to the dining room. Fang Shisha took a deep breath. She had already anticipated her mother's anger, so she tried her best to speak in a calm tone. I know what I'm doing. I think you don't even know what you're doing. You're still students, how can you be like this? Shi Mengqin did not dare to use words that were too hurtful to her daughter. So what if we're students? We're already 18 years old and are already adults. If we were in the ancient times, we would already be married and have children. So what? Moreover, the two of us are truly in love. Moreover, didn't you guys not object before? Fang Shisha argued. We did not object, but we did not think that you guys would progress so quickly. Shi Mengqin was filled with regret. If she had known earlier, she would have strictly guarded against them. However, no matter how strictly she guarded against them, she could not have continued to follow them. It was even more impossible for her to not sleep at night and guard the door to prevent Tang Zheng, this flower thief. Moreover, there was no way to guard against this kind of thing. Seeing her daughter's determined appearance, Shi Mengqin was speechless and could only gnash her teeth in hatred. Fang Shisha saw that her mother's anger had subsided a little and hurriedly held onto her hand. She said with a smile, Mom, I know you treat me well, but I also have my own feelings and my own decisions. I also know how to treat myself well, so you don't need to worry. Tang Zheng treats me very well. He treats you well now, but that does not guarantee that he will treat you well in the future. In the future, he will definitely treat me well. I understand him. She knew Tang Zheng's true secret, so she had the confidence to say these words. How long have you guys known each other and you dare to say that you understand him? 3 years. That's a long time, right? I remember that you and Dad only knew each other for 2 years before getting married. Fang Shisha mischievously said. Go to the side. I am talking about your problems. How did it involve me and your dad? Fang Shisha chuckled. I really envy you and my dad. In the future, we will definitely be a copy of you and be as happy as you too. Shi Mengqin opened her mouth but was speechless. She could not possibly say that she was not happy right now. This daughter of hers had truly grown up and was becoming more and more eloquent. She let out a long sigh and said, Shisha, don't blame Mom for her bad attitude. I have seen too many ungrateful men, so this is all for your good. Fang Shisha hurriedly nodded her head. I know Mom treats me well and I will always remember this in my heart. However, Tang Zheng is not that kind of ungrateful man. Moreover, he is very amazing. As she said this, Her eyes lit up as her large eyes were filled with worship and love. Seeing this scene, how could Shi Mengqin not understand her daughter's feelings? She was also a woman and had also walked through this age. Stop. Right now, I also do not feel that he is that amazing. Fang Sheshe stuck out her tongue and said in her heart, Mom, Tang Zheng is a cultivator and your daughter is also a cultivator. This is all because of him. However, I must first say that this will only happen once. If I see him come out of your room so early in the morning again, I will definitely kick him out. Shi Mengqin slightly compromised but still had a lot of resentment towards Tang Zheng. Fang Sheshe hurriedly promised, relax, there will not be a next time. In her heart, she secretly said that she would at most have Tang Zheng jump out of the window before dawn. Since he was so strong, this would be a piece of cake. Tang Zheng and Fang Chonghua sat in the dining room. Tang Zheng did not say a word as he quietly ate his breakfast. Fang Chonghua, on the other hand, did not have much of an appetite. He even stopped his habit of eating breakfast while reading the newspaper. He stared straight at Tang Zheng as if he wanted him to say something. However, what kind of person was Tang Zheng? This kind of gaze did not have any killing power towards him. A moment later, he put down his bowl and chopsticks and said, Uncle, I am full. You can slowly eat. Seeing that he was about to leave, Fang Chonghua could no longer sit still. Chapter 141. Tang Zheng, wait a moment. Fang Chonghua finally opened his mouth. Tang Zheng stopped, sat up straight and asked, Uncle, is there anything else? Fang Chonghua wanted to say something but hesitated. You and Sheshe, Tang Zheng seriously said, Uncle, perhaps this is a bit sudden for you but I must solemnly declare that Sheshe and I truly like each other. If we truly want to be together, there is no difficulty that can stop us. Tang Zheng's attitude was somewhat unyielding. If it was someone else, they would have been kicked out by his father-in-law, but Tang Zheng's words were as it should be. If he were to show weakness, it would not be inconceivable. This was Tang Zheng's current imposing manner. Fang Chonghua waved his hand and said, I'm not trying to stop you, but you're still students after all, and you're sprinting for the college entrance exam. You can't be distracted by other things and ruin all your hard work over the years. Do you understand what I mean? I understand. Sheshe's grades are very good and I believe that she will be able to get good grades. I also have confidence that I will be able to get good grades. Tang Zheng's voice was sonorous and powerful, making it impossible for anyone to doubt him. But Fang Chonghua was a board member of the school, so of course he knew about Tang Zheng's poor grades, so he tactfully reminded him, It is good that you have confidence but you cannot relax in your studies. I am not worried about Sheshe's grades but you, the school's last place wanting to get into a good university was nothing more than a daydream. Fang Chonghua did not say this as even though he knew that Tang Zheng was outstanding in other areas, he did not have much confidence in his studies. Uncle, I will get first place in the college entrance exam. Tang Zheng firmly said. What, first place in the school? Fang Chonghua felt that he might have misheard. Could it be that he was referring to last place? Uncle, you did not mishear. I will get first place in the school and enter a good university. Tang Zheng repeated. Fang Chonghua finally knew that he did not mishear, but was this really possible? Shi Mengqin and Fang Sheshe walked out and coincidentally heard these words. Shi Mengqin's eyes widened in disbelief. Wasn't he afraid of biting his tongue by saying such big words? Unexpectedly, Fang Sheshe walked over and held his hand. They looked at each other and smiled. She also said firmly, I believe you. Fang Chonghua and Shi Mengqin looked at each other, not understanding where Tang Zheng's confidence came from. Furthermore, Fang Sheshe believed in him so much, as if she was possessed. Tang Zheng didn't need to explain too much, so he lightly said, I also made a bet with the school's Wu Tsuehong. If I get first place in the school, then she doesn't deserve to be a teacher and must leave Pengcheng International School. Uncle, you're the school's director, so I hope that when the time comes, you can supervise her carrying out this bet. Is what you said true? Fang Chonghua had never heard of this bet, but he could see the strong confidence in Tang Zheng's eyes. Moreover, with Tang Zheng's personality, he definitely wouldn't make this bet knowing that he would lose. This meant that from the moment he placed the bet, he already knew that he would win. Of course it's true. Tang Zheng is much stronger than me. He is just temporarily hiding his strength. Fang Shisha impatiently said. Fang Chongguo and Shi Mengqin felt that their brains were not enough today. Was Tang Zheng deliberately hiding his strength by getting last place? But this was too deep. Was there a need to get last place to hide his strength? Tang Zheng did not want to explain the specific reason to them. He only looked at Fang Chongguo with a burning gaze filled with confidence. Okay, then when the time comes, I will remind the school to pay attention to this bet. Fang Chongguo simply did not say anything. Shi Mengqin wanted to say something, but seeing her husband's expression, she tactfully closed her mouth. Dad, Mom, then we will go to school. Uncle, Auntie, goodbye. Fang Shisha carried her backpack and pulled Tang Zheng towards the garage. Luckily, their villa had an indoor garage, so as long as they got in the car, Daoist Tianji would not be able to discover them. The driver was already waiting by the side of the car. He opened the door for the two to get in and rolled up the window so that no one could see the situation inside. The car drove out of the villa and sped towards the school. Tang Zheng and Fang Shisha sat in the back. Fang Shisha leaned on his shoulder and said in a low voice, "Do you think that bad guy left?" "I don't know." Tang Zheng shook his head and unconsciously looked out of the car. Coincidentally, he saw a large group of police chasing after a beggar-like old man in ragged clothes. This person was of course Elder Tianji. Elder Tianji had been unhindered for his entire life and had never thought that he would be chased like a stray dog. His speed was much faster than the police, but he did not have as many people as the police and was not as familiar with the terrain. In addition, the police did not know that he was an expert, so they were not afraid of him at all. This resulted in this situation of a mad chase. Moreover, there were quite a few police cars chasing after him. The sound of the police sirens made one's heart flustered. Tang Zheng's head trembled as he could not help but sit up straight and be on guard. Fang Shisha noticed his strange behavior and hurriedly followed his gaze. She also saw the police chasing after Daoist Tianji. Her heart moved as she asked, "He is that bad guy?" Last night, Tang Zheng had told her everything, so she knew how powerful Daoist Tianji was. Tang Zheng nodded. "That's him. He really did not leave. If I had left your house last night, then I would have definitely been discovered by him. So it seems that my decision to leave you behind last night was correct," Fang Shisha said with satisfaction. Tang Zheng tapped her nose and praised, "You are my lucky star, so your decision was definitely correct." Even though his expression was relaxed, his hand could not help but grab onto the battle spirit sword in Fang Shisha's bag. Fortunately, this scene flashed by and Daoist Tianji did not discover that the person he was looking for was in a car not too far away. He did not dare to use the earth-shrinking technique in front of so many people as it was too eye-catching. If he were to be noticed by the country's people, then he would not have a good ending. Even though he was a first-grade Foundation establishment cultivator and his strength was not bad, the martial artists in this world were not weak either. Moreover, there were too many experts and he was far from being a match for them. So he could only madly run and hope that he could quickly get rid of this group of damned police. Not long after, the police and police cars disappeared from Tang Zheng's sight. The two people safely arrived at the school and Tang Zheng's heart finally relaxed as he focused on class. However, there was someone who was unable to concentrate and Hoodlum was restlessly pacing around the large office. Hoodlum had a tall stature and his muscles were bulging. The veins on his arms were bulging like green pythons coiling around his muscles. His eyes revealed an ominous glint as his heart was in turmoil. The people he had sent to assassinate Tang Zheng last night could not be contacted. It was just to get rid of a high school student. Furthermore, in order to emphasize the importance of Song Donghua's mission, he had sent out 6 people. Moreover, they were led by his head, Scarface. For a single student, this was simply too much. But why was there no news? Even when he called, no one answered. Hoodlum had sent out his little brothers early in the morning to look for these 6 people as he guessed that they had drunk some wine and ran off somewhere to enjoy themselves. When I find them I will definitely fiercely teach them a lesson. They are simply too outrageous. Brother Fei, we found Scarface and the others. One of his little brothers walked in with a strange expression as he respectfully reported. Why do you have such a dead face so early in the morning? Did you die or something? Hoodlum unhappily reprimanded. Speak, what exactly happened to Scarface and the others? The little brother hurriedly lowered his head and fearfully said, Brother Fay, this matter is very strange. You should personally make a trip. Strange? This daddy has seen many strange things. How strange can it be? Hurry up and tell me, what exactly happened? Hoodlum impatiently reprimanded. Seeing that his boss was about to flip out, the little brother took a deep breath and finally gathered his courage as he stammered, Scarface's little brothers are all dead. Dead? Hoodlum was shocked as he could not believe it. A few people had actually died trying to deal with a high school student. This was simply too strange. What exactly happened? Hoodlum sternly asked. The little brother fearfully shook his head. Boss, I am also not clear. You should go and take a look. Okay, let's go. This daddy wants to see what exactly happened. Half an hour later, Hoodlum stood in the desolate construction site of the unmarked common graves as he blankly stared at everything in front of him. He finally understood his little brother's feelings. This was simply too strange. Brother Fay, we found their van and then found this place. The little brother still did not dare to look at the bloody scene. Hoodlum's face was ashen as his little brothers had actually died so miserably. Their heads had been separated from their bodies and some of their stomachs had been torn open with their organs spilling all over the ground. This was simply like hell on earth. Even the chaotic battles of the underworld were not this miserable. Who can tell me what exactly happened? The other little brothers did not dare to look at his eyes as they hurriedly lowered their heads. No one dared to speak. Where is Scarface? How come I don't see his corpse here? Scarface is still alive. The little brother said. Then capture him for this daddy. This daddy wants to ask what the fuck happened. Hoodlum was flustered and exasperated. It had been a long time since he had been this angry. What was originally an insignificant matter had actually turned out like this. 5 of his little brothers had died, and they had died so miserably. If he did not find an explanation, then not only would his little brothers be bitterly disappointed, he would also become a laughingstock and damage his reputation. The little brother wanted to say something but hesitated. In the end, he did not say anything as he turned around and walked towards the van, dragging along a person as he staggered over. Hoodlum looked at the person walking over in astonishment as his eyebrows jumped. Scarface was his leader and was also his trusted little brother. Of course, he was very familiar with him. Scarface was vicious and merciless, and was extremely good at fighting. However, although this person in front of him had the appearance of Scarface, he did not have any spirit. His face was lifeless like a fool and was completely different from the Scarface that he knew. Hoodlum became even more suspicious. Just what had happened to make his ruthless leader become like this? He had to find out. He grabbed Scarface's collar and angrily roared, Scarface, just what happened? Chapter 142. Scarface looked at Hoodlum blankly, his eyes lifeless. Hoodlum was enraged and slapped Scarface. F***K, are you stupid? Answer me. Ghost, ghost. Scarface suddenly shouted, as if he had gone mad, brandishing his claws and brandishing them. Pu. Hoodlum was not careful and his face was scratched a few times. Blood immediately seeped out, making him look battered and exhausted. Hoodlum was actually injured by his own leader. If this were to spread, he would become a laughingstock. Hoodlum was unable to restrain his anger and kicked Scarface to the ground. He was still angry and stepped on Scarface. F***K, you dare to attack me? Are you crazy? Scarface curled up on the ground and screamed, but he still kept on repeating, Ghost, ghost, Brother Fay, calm down. The other lackeys saw this and quickly persuaded, Brother Fay, Scarface seems to have really gone mad. You can hear him calling ghosts. When we found him, he was also like this. What? Hoodlum stopped and looked suspiciously at Scarface who was curled up on the ground. Scarface was still muttering non-stop, and his face was still full of fear. Hoodlum had seen this kind of fear many times. Before he killed someone, the person he killed would also feel this kind of bone-chilling fear, which is commonly known as being scared out of their wits. Scarface, who killed without blinking an eye, was actually scared out of his wits. Hoodlum could not believe it. Even if there was a knife to Scarface's neck, Hoodlum was sure that Scarface would not be so scared. What the F***K is going on? Hoodlum was filled with suspicion and asked angrily. The lackeys trembled in fear and hesitated to speak. What are you waiting for? If you don't speak, I will cripple you. The underling trembled and pointed at the ground under his feet. Brother Fay, do you still remember where we are? Hoodlum frowned and looked around. This place was extremely desolate, and there were barely any signs of life. What kind of place was this? What kind of place is this? Brother Fay, this is the damned place. It's ordinary balances, unmarked common graves, the one that's haunted. After the little brother finished speaking, he couldn't help but look around, as if he was really afraid that a ghost would come to take his life. Hoodlum's heart trembled as he finally remembered this dangerous place. He was a gangster and didn't believe in ghosts. However, the incident with the developer a few years ago had caused a lot of commotion and left him with a lingering fear. Brother Fay, I'm guessing that Scarface and the others encountered something dirty. That's why they died so miserably. That's why he became an idiot. Otherwise, why would he keep muttering about ghosts? The little brother speculated. Hoodlum shivered and looked at the messy corpses on the ground. Indeed, this was not something an ordinary person could do. Otherwise, that person would be too abnormal. But he couldn't show his fear in front of his little brother, so he pretended to be angry and said, "Damn it, how can there be so many ghosts in this world? If there's a ghost, why didn't the people I killed come back for my life? F***ck, a bunch of idiots. Why are you so afraid of ghosts? Where are the ghosts? Come out. Let me take a look." He angrily roared at the desolate construction site. Everything was silent and there was no response. However, this scared the little brothers so much that they began to tremble and almost ran away. Hoodlum's performance was undoubtedly very domineering. In the hearts of the little brothers, his image was once again raised by another level. Following a big brother who wasn't even afraid of ghosts, of course they would have more prospects. This is definitely the work of some bastard who wants to go against me. They purposely made it look like a ghost to confuse the public. Don't think that I, Hoodlum, won't be able to find out. In ordinary balances territory, I, Hoodlum, have the final say. Those who go against me can only die. Hoodlum was seething with anger. Drag Scarface back and find a doctor to see if he can be cured. I, Hoodlum, want to know what exactly happened. Yes. A few of the younger brothers hurriedly dragged Scarface away, afraid of provoking their boss's anger again. However, the few bloodstains on his face, no matter how they looked at it, seemed like a silent taunt. Gather the little brothers. I, Hoodlum, want to stretch my muscles. It's been too long since I've fought. Others might think that I, Hoodlum, am easy to bully. Boss, who are we going to fight? Lin who? Several little brothers' eyes lit up as they agreed. Recently, Lin who has been jumping around happily. He even swallowed up Boss Fan's territory. Why don't we go and eat up his territory? Let's see if he can still be so arrogant. Hoodlum disdainfully snorted. In ordinary balances territory, Master Huang has the final say. They have been fighting to the death and Master Huang has seen it all. Since they dare to bite back at Master Huang, then their time of death has come. These words were indeed the truth. The current situation where several parties coexisted was something that Huang Sai had tacitly agreed to. He did not keep all of the territory in his hands because he was worried that others would say that he was monopolizing it. Thus, he occupied the most profitable territory and left the rest for others to fight over. Not only did he not lose much profit, he even gained a good reputation. It was really like being a bitch and still wanting to build a monument. The little brothers became excited. With territory to fight over, they would have even more profits in the future. Thus, they temporarily forgot about the ghost matter and contacted their little brothers to take action. Ding-ling-ling. Suddenly, Hoodlum's phone rang. "Hello, Who is this? Hoodlum angrily asked. Hoodlum, did you eat gunpowder? Why are you so angry? Ah, Secretary Song, it's you. Hoodlum's voice softened as he waved his hands, sending his little brothers away. Hoodlum had invested quite a bit in Song Donghua and knew of his strength. No matter how imposing and fierce he was in front of his little brothers, in front of Song Donghua, he was incomparably obedient and listened to his orders. This society was not like the past where one could rely on fighting and killing to get to the top. This society had a dark side and the country would tacitly allow it to exist. However, if the country really wanted to make a move, they would be like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. Hoodlum understood this principle, so he had always tried to rope in officials. In the end, he had spent a lot of effort to hug the thighs of Secretary Song Donghua. Although he had spent quite a bit of money, the results were very good. For example, last time, his little brothers had been caught and sent to the police station. In the end, Secretary Song only needed to make a phone call to solve the problem and his little brothers were released. Thus, Hoodlum carefully maintained this relationship. As long as it was something Song Donghua asked him to do, he would definitely do his best to do it. For example, this time's matter. Although this time he had clearly messed up, he could still fix it. Wasn't it just dealing with a high school student? It was a piece of cake. How are things? Song Donghua went straight to the point. Hoodlum did not dare to say that he messed up and hurriedly said, "It will be done in 2 days. Secretary Song, you can rest assured that I will handle it." Song Donghua unhappily said, "Didn't you say that you were going to make a move last night?" It seems that Song Donghua was a person who would definitely take revenge for the smallest grievance. Hoodlum evasively said, "Secretary Song, there was a small matter last night so it was delayed. Don't worry, I will definitely handle this matter beautifully. I guarantee that you will be satisfied. Don't make me wait too long, otherwise I will lose my patience. If that happens, you will not be able to handle your matters in the future." Secretary Song threatened. "Yes, Secretary Song, don't worry. I will definitely get it done as soon as possible." After hanging up the phone, Hoodlum went silent. "Today, after dealing with Lin Hu, I will personally make a trip to meet this high school student." Hey, to personally deal with a high school student, it really is too much of a fuss. At noon, Shungsha Bar had not yet opened but a group of people had already arrived. It was clear that they were not customers but had ill intentions. When Lin Hu's little brothers saw this, they quickly ran upstairs to report. Peng! A loud sound rang out as Hoodlum sent the door flying with a kick, smashing into the wall far away. He stood imposingly at the entrance, glaring angrily. Sweeping his gaze, Lin Hu's lackeys all hid far away. "Yo, isn't this Brother Fei? Why are you so angry? Come, give Brother Fei a glass of wine. Put in some ice to cool down his anger." Dongzi came out to greet him and feigned enthusiasm. "Who the F***ck are you? What qualifications do you have to speak in front of me? Scram, tell your boss Lin Hu to come talk to me. Otherwise, I will start smashing." Hoodlum said arrogantly. Behind him, over 100 little brothers immediately screamed and waved the sticks in their hands. It was a frightening sight. "Brother Fei, I am Brother Hu's little brother Dongzi. If you have anything to say, you can tell me," Dongzi said while suppressing his anger. "Pei, tell you? Are you even worthy?" Hoodlum's leg flew up and swept towards Dongzi. Dongzi reacted quickly and immediately raised his arm to block. Although he blocked, there was still a muffled sound as Dongzi flew out and smashed into the counter. It could be seen how powerful that kick was. "Pei, you can't even withstand a single blow." Hoodlum disdainfully spat out a mouthful of saliva. Behind him, his little brothers cheered him on. "Brother Fei is mighty." Lin Hu's little brothers began to stir and were about to charge forward when they saw Dongzi stumbling as he stood up and blocked his little brother. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and asked with a gloomy face, "Brother Fei, you're not being particular. Are you trying to pick a fight with Brother Hu? So what if I want to pick a fight with him? Let me tell you, not only will I pick a fight, I will also ruthlessly step on Lin Hu so that he will never be able to rise again." Hoodlum said with a murderous look. "Yo, Brother Fei, you're so aggressive. Did you eat a bull's penis early in the morning? You're so angry that you want to step on me so that I will never be able to rise again. You scared me to death. Lin, who lazily walked downstairs and looked at Dongzi. How are you? Dongzi clenched his teeth and shook his head. I'm fine. Lin, who nodded his head as he walked towards Hoodlum. Hoodlum's pupils shrunk as they had not seen each other for a short period of time, and Lin, whose aura seemed to have changed. He was now filled with confidence. Brother Fei, what happened to your face? Did some little girl scratch you? Hey, you're going to be disfigured. Lin, who jokingly said, but in his heart he was very puzzled as why Hoodlum would come looking for him. Could it be that Fire Phoenix had told on him? Impossible. Lin, who decided to wait and see. Hoodlum was already angry, and mentioning the bloody scars on his face made him even angrier. It seemed like this fight was unavoidable. Chapter 143. Hoodlum angrily glared at him. Lin, who, don't think that I don't know what you've done. Was the matter with Scarface done by you? Actually, Hoodlum wasn't sure who was the one behind Scarface's matter, but he had a good reason, so he didn't mind pinning this matter on Lin, whose head. Fairy Search, download free novels. During this period of time, Lin, who had been jumping around very happily. Hoodlum felt threatened, so he wanted to beat him down. Brother Fei, you can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want. I heard that Scarface was injured by a malicious spirit in the unmarked common graves, so I was just about to go and ask him about it. Lin, who flatly denied. The unmarked common graves were after all in the north of the city, so Lin, who had just received the news and was very shocked. Hoodlum stared at him but didn't want to judge whether his words were true or false. In any case, this battle had to be fought. Don't cry crocodile tears. Let me tell you, it's too late to pretend to be a grandson. What malicious spirit demanding your life? That's just to trick a 3-year-old child. Since you won't admit it, I'll beat you until you admit it. Lin, whose eyebrows jumped. Brother Fei, then you're purposely looking for an excuse to deal with me? So what if I'm going to deal with you? Hoodlum disdainfully said, and then took a step forward. Their eyes met, and Hoodlum didn't see any fear in Lin, whose eyes. This made him even more determined to get rid of Lin, who. A person who wasn't afraid of him would one day threaten his existence, so he waved his hand. Attack. More than 100 underlings swarmed into the bar, waving their clubs and smashing the bar. Fine, if you want to fight, then I'll fight. Let's see who will win in the end. Lin, who clenched his teeth and said with an ashen face. The battle was already unavoidable. If he were to shrink back, then he wouldn't have the face to mingle in the underworld. But he was a little regretful that he wasn't fully prepared for this battle. But, even if it was difficult, he still had to fight. Good, then I want to see how a 2nd-grade refining body like you can fight against a 5th-grade refining body like me. Hoodlum jokingly said as he swept his leg towards Lin, whose lower body. Lin, who leaped backwards and dodged the attack. He roared, brothers, beat them up for me. Beat them up ruthlessly. They dare to behave atrociously in our territory, we must beat them down. Suddenly, the two sides were engaged in a chaotic battle. This was Lin, whose base camp, so of course, he had a lot of people. They were almost evenly matched, but the bar suffered a calamity. It was basically smashed beyond recognition. Lin, whose eyes were spitting fire as he leapt towards Hoodlum. Flipping his hand behind his back, a chilling machete appeared in his hand as he viciously chopped towards Hoodlum. You dare to make a fool of yourself with such petty tricks? I'll let you open your eyes and see what a true expert is. Hoodlum's face was full of disdain as he met the attack with his bare hands. He kicked out towards Lin, whose chest. Even though Lin, who had a weapon in his hand, he didn't dare be careless. He knew the power of Hoodlum's spring kick. Hoodlum was Huang Sai's most proud disciple. It was said that Huang Xiang didn't like to learn spring kick, so Huang Sai passed down the essence of spring kick to Hoodlum. Hoodlum was only 30 years old, but he was already a 5th-grade refining body cultivator. Spring kick was fast and fierce. One kick was accompanied by a strong wind that made people unable to open their eyes. But Lin, who wasn't a mediocre person. He swept his machete horizontally towards Hoodlum's leg. The machete's momentum was like the wind, as if it could even cut through steel. Hoodlum didn't retract his leg and instead kicked even faster towards the blade. Peng! A muffled sound rang out as Lin Hu staggered backwards, his arm numb. Hoodlum slightly retreated and then lowered his body, sweeping towards Lin Hu's lower body with a whirlwind kick. Lin Hu roared as he blocked his lower body with his machete, blocking the opponent's attack. He then pulled his machete upwards, directly slashing towards Hoodlum's chest. As long as the machete landed, it would directly split open from the chest to the stomach. Hoodlum leapt into the air, narrowly avoiding the tip of the machete. He then looked down from above and kicked out with both of his legs, covering the top of Lin Hu's head. Peng peng peng! A series of muffled sounds rang out as Lin Hu flew backwards, spitting out a mouthful of blood. Hoodlum steadily landed on the ground as he flicked his sleeves and disdainfully said, "You're only a second-grade refining body cultivator. Before, I was too lazy to fight with you. Now that I want to get rid of you, it's as easy as flipping my hand." With a movement of his feet, he arrived in front of Lin Hu. Lin Hu was lying on the ground, seemingly heavily injured. When the other lackeys saw this, they all angrily shouted, "Don't hurt my boss." Dongzi directly pounced towards Hoodlum. Hoodlum glanced at him from the corner of his eyes and kicked out. Dongzi was like a kite with a broken string as he flew into the crowd. Peng! A gunshot rang out as a bullet flew towards Hoodlum. Hoodlum hurriedly pulled over a lackey beside him. Pu! Blood splattered everywhere as the lackey was shot while he himself was unharmed. He angrily looked at Lin Hu as he stood up with a gun in his hand, aiming it straight at Hoodlum. "Using a gun? F***ck, you think you can beat me with a gun? Dream on." Hoodlum angrily roared as he threw the lackey in his hand towards Lin Hu. He then hid behind the lackey and quickly approached Lin Hu. His vision turned black as a figure flew over, completely blocking Lin Hu's line of sight, making it impossible for him to aim at Hoodlum. He couldn't help but turn pale with fright as he hurriedly retreated. However, behind him was a wall and there was no way to retreat. Lin Hu originally didn't intend to use his gun, but in this situation, if he didn't use his gun, he would have no way to survive. This gun was given to him by Tang Zheng from Boss Fan. He didn't expect that it would come in handy here. At this moment, how he wished that Tang Zheng was here so that Hoodlum wouldn't be able to do anything. Suddenly, he was even more determined to follow Tang Zheng. "If I don't die today, even if young Master Tang uses a stick to chase me away, I won't leave. I will definitely let him sit on the top of the ordinary balance underworld." He didn't have time to pull the trigger because Hoodlum had already arrived in front of him under the cover of his lackey. Hoodlum's leg swept towards his arm. Catcher! The bone in his arm broke and the gun fell to the ground. Hoodlum's leg swept towards his neck. This attack was powerful and heavy. If he was swept by it, his neck would definitely be broken. He hurriedly raised his only hand to block. Bang! He was sent flying into the crowd. One of Hoodlum's lackeys saw this and chopped at him with a knife. Clang! The other knife blocked the attack. Dao Zai held the knife with both hands and stood in front of him to protect him. Dao Zai was previously Boss Fan's head horse. Now, he was under Lin Hu's command. Last time at the restaurant, Tang Zheng let him go. Now, he loyally followed Lin Hu. Dao Zai was good at using two knives and his battle strength wasn't bad. In a few moves, he cut down the surrounding enemies. While pulling Lin Hu towards the door, he shouted, "Brother Hu, quickly run. I will block them." Lin Hu's eyes turned red. Dao Zai was so loyal. How could he leave? With difficulty, he raised his knife and said, "I will fight alongside you all. Brother Hu, where there is life there is hope. I, Dao Zai, have just followed you. You can't let me lose my boss. Go find young Master Tang and let him take revenge for us." Lin Hu's heart trembled as he clenched his teeth. Although he didn't want to run, in this situation, if he didn't run then he would die. The other lackeys could live but he as the boss definitely wouldn't. Moreover, Dao Zai was right. If he died then Hoodlum's momentum would be even stronger and it would be even more difficult to deal with Huang Sai. Young Master Tang wholeheartedly wanted to deal with Huang Sai. If he died like this, Wouldn't he be a sinner? Brother, I will definitely come back to save you all. Lin Hu clenched his teeth as hot tears fell from the corners of his eyes. Men shouldn't be easily moved. Facing these comrades who risked their lives to protect him, he really wanted to cry. But now wasn't the time to cry. Under the cover of Dao Zai, he used all his strength to rush towards the door. Fuck, you want to run? No way. Hoodlum saw through the other's intentions and quickly chased after him. Dongzi had unknowingly rushed over and hugged Hoodlum's legs as he loudly shouted, "Brother Hu, quickly run and take revenge for us." "Let go." Hoodlum angrily roared. "Run, Brother Hu." Dongzi vowed not to let go and instead hugged even tighter. "If you want to die, then I'll fulfill your wish." Hoodlum leapt up, bringing Dongzi along with him before fiercely crashing onto the ground. One of his hands involuntarily loosened and Hoodlum's leg was freed as he quickly kicked towards Dongzi. Dongzi desperately hugged onto his other leg, spitting out blood but still didn't loosen his grip. "Help!" It was unknown who roared, but Lin Hu's subordinates all rushed towards Hoodlum, wanting to block him and give their boss a chance to escape. Lin Hu looked at all of this with red eyes. "Brothers, your kindness, Lin Hu will remember it in my heart. I will definitely come back and lead you all to stand at the peak of the ordinary balance. I will let you all live in glory forever and let you all receive the rewards for what you have done today." Lin Hu turned around and ran out of the door with tears in his eyes, disappearing from everyone's line of sight. "Beat him up for me and ruthlessly teach this group of bastards a lesson." Hoodlum flew into a rage as he helplessly watched Lin Hu escape. Although his martial arts were the highest here, he was still powerless in the vast ocean of people's war. Lin Hu staggered, and in order to not attract attention, he specifically chose a remote path. Looking at the scorching sun above his head, his heart was ice cold as if he had fallen into an ice cave. This battle left a deep impression on him as the eyes of his brothers hovered in his mind. He clenched his teeth and bit his lips until they were bleeding. "I will definitely take revenge, take revenge." Finding young Master Tang was his only thought as well as his only method. He knew that he had underestimated Hoodlum's strength in the past, as this Huang Sai dog's fangs were too sharp. Even if he relied on himself and the Fire Phoenix, he would still be powerless. Only Tang Zheng was the key to change everything. He also finally understood why Fire Phoenix was so cautious and didn't easily agree to join hands with him. This woman was the one with the clearest vision. One of his arms drooped down as it was incomparably painful, but it couldn't compare to the pain in his heart. He had to find Tang Zheng as soon as possible. School, yes, Tang Zheng was studying at Pengcheng International School. He didn't dare call for a taxi as he was deeply afraid that Hoodlum would catch up to him. He staggered all the way to Pengcheng International School. His injuries weren't light. Not only did he suffer from the pain of losing his arm, he also suffered from internal injuries. The taste of Hoodlum's bouncing kick wasn't that good. Finally, he saw his destination in the distance as a group of students filed out. Chapter 144. Lin Hu's eyes widened as he searched through the crowd of students. Suddenly, a familiar figure jumped into his eyes. Net, young Master Tang. He controlled the cry that he was about to blurt out. Looking at his battered and exhausted self covered in blood, he lowered his head in shame and did not go over. He understood that Tang Zheng did not want too many people to know about him, so he did not dare to go over in public. Tang Zheng sent Fang Shusha to the car and watched her leave. He then walked with Feng Yong. The two of them chatted and laughed, no different from the students beside them. When the two of them got closer, Lin Hu jumped out from a corner and called out in a low voice, "Young Master Tang." Tang Zheng and Feng Yong were originally discussing the problem of martial arts. Feng Yong was after all too old and his aptitude was average, so his progress in martial arts was not as fast as Fang Shusha's. However, thanks to the guidance of a great teacher like Tang Zheng, he could be considered to have stepped into the threshold of martial arts. "Boss, when do you think I can be as strong as you?" Feng Yong asked in worship. Tang Zheng gave a faint smile and encouraged him, "As long as you work hard, it is possible." Feng Yong nodded, "I will definitely work hard so that people like Takashi will never be able to bully me again." 5 Takashi hasn't bullied you now, right? Of course he wouldn't dare. With boss protecting me, who would dare to touch me? Feng Yong said proudly. However, Takashi has been acting strange recently, especially that look in his eyes. I keep feeling that there is a problem. Tang Zheng did not have time to reply when he saw a person jump out from the side. He jumped in fright, thinking that it was Daoist Tianji. Yi, who's Yi, why is it you? Tang Zheng looked at Lin Hu in astonishment. His gaze trembled as he saw the blood on his clothes. He could not help but frown. What's wrong? Young Master Tang, I have something to talk to you about. Lin Hu glanced at Feng Yong and hesitated. Feng Yong looked at this stranger in astonishment. He actually called his boss Young Master Tang. He felt baffled. When did his boss have such a nickname? Why didn't his little brother know about it? However, what shocked him even more was Lin Hu's aura. This person was battered and exhausted, and there was even blood on his clothes. However, his aura was very frightening and full of killing intent, causing him to involuntarily tremble. Tang Zheng knew that something big must have happened. He patted Feng Yong's shoulder and said, "Fatty, you go home first." "Boss, is there something wrong? I'm your little brother, so if there's a problem, I'll have to help." Feng Yong patted his chest and volunteered. Tang Zheng shook his head. Feng Yong couldn't help. "Go back. You don't have to get involved in this." "Oh, boss, just give me a call if you need anything. I'll be there in a minute." Seeing Tang Zheng's firm attitude, Feng Yong left reluctantly. "Let's talk over there." There were too many students nearby. Tang Zheng and Lin Hu walked into a side alley. "What's going on?" "Young Master Tang, Hoodlum brought people to sweep through my territory, saying that I killed his little brother. Everyone knows that his leader, Scarface, was killed by a malicious spirit in the unmarked common graves. He is just looking for an excuse to get rid of me and swallow my territory." Lin Hu angrily said. "Scarface." Tang Zheng's head moved. He remembered that Scarface from last night. Wasn't he sent by Hoodlum to kill him? He originally wanted to find Hoodlum and find out who wanted his life. He didn't think that Hoodlum would first find Lin Hu. Looking at Lin Hu's appearance, the situation didn't look good. "What happened in the end?" Tang Zheng asked. Lin Hu hung his head and said in shame, "I wasn't Hoodlum's opponent. My brothers risked their lives to let me escape." Saying this, his shoulders trembled. Tears flickered in his eyes, as if they were about to burst out. Tang Zheng secretly sighed. Although it was just a few words, he could imagine just how desperate the battle was. He patted Lin Hu's shoulder and comforted him. "Since your brothers risked their lives to let you escape, then they wanted you to make a comeback. What are you crying for? What do you plan to do next?" He raised his head and looked straight at Tang Zheng. He clenched his teeth and with a putong sound, he kneeled on the ground. "Young Master Tang, I beg you to save my brothers. Get up." A man has gold under his knees. He kneels to the heavens, to the earth, and to his parents. "You don't need to kneel to me." Tang Zheng's face sank as he reprimanded. Lin Hu did not get up as he continued to speak. "Young Master Tang, you said before that you don't want to get involved in matters of the underworld, so normally I don't dare to disturb you. But in the ordinary balance underworld, Huang Sai has the final say. He is vicious and merciless, so he definitely won't let my brothers off. Young Master Tang, from now on I pledge to follow you. My life is yours. I only hope that you can lead my brothers out of this encirclement and get rid of those two bastards Hoodlum and Huang Sai. Then we will support you in becoming the head of the ordinary balance underworld. I will be your cow and horse. Wherever you point me to, I will do it without any hesitation." Seeing this indomitable man say these words, Tang Zheng could completely understand the pain and suffering in his heart. Of course, there was also the desire for revenge. But Tang Zheng was a student and a cultivator. He really did not want to get involved in matters of the underworld. But this time Hoodlum taught him a lesson. Although Scarface and the others could not harm him, they could easily harm others. In the future, when Tang Zheng went to study elsewhere, what would happen to his grandfather? Would he also take his grandfather with him? Of course he had the strength to do so, but it was difficult to leave one's homeland. His grandfather definitely did not want to leave the ordinary balance. What if Hoodlum or Huang Sai saw that they could not deal with him and turned to deal with his grandfather? He did not dare to think of the consequences. He had experienced too many dangers and did not dare to take this risk. Even if his grandfather was in the slightest bit of danger, he would definitely strangle this danger in the cradle. His eyes gradually became sharp as it seemed that Lin Hu's suggestion was not impossible. In the past, he had been too ambitious and had neglected this problem. Although matters of the underworld made his grandfather worried, as long as he had absolute strength and grasped the power of the underworld in his hands, not only would this power not harm others, it would also ensure the safety of more people. Perhaps this was the result that his grandfather wanted to see. Moreover, this time Hoodlum had used the matter with Scarface as an excuse. This matter was related to Tang Zheng, so he really should lend a helping hand. Seeing Lin Hu kneel on the ground, his eyes fervently looking at him, he nodded his head and said, "Since we and Hoodlum and Huang Sai are like fire and water, then of course we should pull them down. Stand up, I promise you." Lin Hu was overjoyed as he resolutely said, "Young Master Tang, this life of mine is in your hands. I, Lin Hu, vow to follow young Master Tang until my death. If I have second thoughts, may the heavens and earth destroy me." Tang Zheng grabbed both of his hands and helped him up. His heart gradually warmed as Tang Zheng knew that he was a person who would eventually make a name for himself. Perhaps Lin Hu would be one of his subordinates. At this moment, his heart underwent a complete change. If it was before, even though he knew that he was a cultivator and would eventually be extraordinary, he did not carefully think about what would happen. However, Lin Hu had enlightened him. Huang Sai, this kind of person, would vainly try to control a part of the world. With his own great potential, if he did not think of creating his own power, then it would be a complete waste of his own good fortune. Perhaps he would not be able to reach the heights of others in a short period of time, but he could take it one step at a time. In the future, there would be a day when he would stand at the top of the world and possess his own glory. Lin Hu never would have thought that he would be the one to help Tang Zheng transform. This was perhaps the greatest benefit that he had brought to Tang Zheng. "Young Master Tang, then what should we do now?" Tang Zheng asked back. "You are more familiar with the situation than I am. What do you think we should do?" Lin Hu was startled. He knew that young Master Tang was testing him, so he pondered for a moment and said, "Hoodlum's strength is not ordinary. Originally, it would be impossible for me to deal with him. This time, I have lost many of my brothers, so dealing with him would be even more difficult. Therefore, I suggest that we work together with Fire Phoenix to deal with him." Seeing that Tang Zheng did not object, he continued to say, "Fire Phoenix has long hated Huang Sai to the bone. However, she did not have the strength to resist, so she had to compromise. This time, if she knew that young Master Tang wanted to join, then she would definitely have agreed. Even though I did not say it clearly before, she is very intelligent. She had long guessed that young Master Tang was not simple, so she purposely tried to rope you in." Tang Zheng nodded his head. Lin Hu was much calmer than he had imagined. He did not say that he would immediately kill his way back. If he did, then he would only be a martial artist. This was how a brave and wise general should act. Even though Tang Zheng did not understand much about the underworld, he still understood that when the weak faced the strong, they had to unite all the forces they could to resist. Moreover, Fire Phoenix had left a deep impression on him. This woman was very careful in every aspect. She tried to win over all the people who were worth winning over. Wasn't her intentions clear as day? She was very clear that there would come a day when her current glory would no longer exist and she would even be killed. This was why she had asked for a promise from Tang Zheng. This was a promise to save her life. It seems like she has been eyeing Huang Sai covetously for a long time. When the time is right, she will definitely give him a fatal blow. "Let's go, we will go meet Fire Phoenix." Tang Zheng was very confident as he loudly said, "But first go change out of your clothes, they are too eye-catching." "Yes." Lin Hu excitedly nodded his head. "That's right, your arm is broken. First go see a doctor." Tang Zheng said. "No problem, I can endure it." "Endure my ass. You will follow me in the future, so how can I let you become a cripple? Let's go, don't be so long-winded. Tang Jing loudly reprimanded Lin, who did not feel uncomfortable. Instead, his heart was filled with warmth. The gloominess from his previous defeat was completely swept away. Lin, who bought a new set of clothes and went to the clinic to treat his injuries. Afterwards, the two of them went straight to Fire Phoenix's construction company. This was the second time Tang Zheng came here, and he had a different feeling. The last time he did not want to have too much contact with Fire Phoenix, but this time he had no choice but to form an alliance with her. The changes in the world were truly unexpected. In the hall, the atmosphere was heavy. Tang Zheng could clearly feel that there were many pairs of eyes staring at the two of them. Chapter 145. The sound of high heels hitting the ground gradually came closer as Fire Phoenix leisurely walked over and said with a smile that was not a smile, "Brother Hu, Brother Fei put a bounty on your head, yet you still dare to come to my place. Are you not afraid that I will capture you and bring you to him to claim credit?" Lin, whose eyebrows jumped as he self-deprecatingly said, "I never thought that there would be a day when I would have a bounty on my head." Amazed face, amazed face, not only did he put a bounty on your head, he also spread the news that if you do not go to him and ask for forgiveness, then Dongzi and Daozi will not be able to live. What? Lin, whose face sank, he captured my people to threaten me? Fire Phoenix lightly smiled. He knows that you are a righteous person and knows that this is your weak point. He is certain that you will definitely go find him. Am I right? Of course I will go find him. He swept my territory and hurt my brothers. I must take revenge for this. Lin, who gnashed his teeth. Fire Phoenix's beautiful eyes turned as she looked at Tang Zheng and said, "Young Master Tang, what wind blew you here? Is Boss Fire not welcoming?" Tang Zheng calmly asked. Fire Phoenix loudly laughed. "Welcome, of course you are welcome." Tang Zheng looked left and right. Although there was not a single person around, he knew that there were many people secretly watching them. As long as Fire Phoenix gave the order, they would definitely attack. Fire Phoenix was truly cautious. Since Boss Fire welcomes us like this, then isn't the welcoming party a bit too grand? Tang Zheng pointed out as he asked. Fire Phoenix was slightly surprised as her people were all hidden and yet they were still discovered by Tang Zheng. She could not help but re-evaluate Tang Zheng. Although she had repeatedly raised her expectations of Tang Zheng, it was clear that she still underestimated his strength. Young Master Tang is truly powerful. My insignificant skills have been disgraced. She waved her hand and a wave of rustling sounds rang out as her subordinates retreated. Tang Zheng nodded. Boss Fire is truly forthright. Then let us go in and talk. Young Master Tang, Brother Hu, this way please. In the same office, the three of them sat down. This time, there was no secretary. Fire Phoenix personally poured tea for the two of them. Young Master Tang, why did you come with Brother Hu this time? I've always felt that you're keeping a respectful distance from me. Fire Phoenix went straight to the point. Boss Hua, I'm not keeping you at a respectful distance. It's just that I'm a student, so there are some things that I don't want to interfere too much. But today, Huzi and I came together to give you a big benefit. Tang Zheng said. Fire Phoenix laughed out loud and said meaningfully, big benefits often mean big risks, don't you think so? Her eyes were very bright. She was a shrewd woman. Tang Zheng was non-committal and said, you can only win if you dare to fight. Isn't wealth and honor built with real swords and real guns? Especially on the streets. Fire Phoenix shook her head and sighed, I'm already old, I'm not as daring as the little girl. Fire Phoenix, don't be modest. You and I have known each other for more than 10 years. We know each other very well. How could I not know your strength? Lin Hu interrupted. Fire Phoenix asked with interest, Brother Hu, then what is this wealth and honor you're talking about? Since I don't have anything to do, I can listen. Since there was something to talk about, it was a good sign. It seemed like Tang Zheng and Lin Hu's judgment was correct. This woman was tempted. Drag Huang Sai off his high horse. His territory, Lin Hu gets 60% and you get 40%. Tang Zheng said decisively. Fire Phoenix's pupils shrunk and immediately laughed. Young Master Tang, are you joking? Drag Huang Sai off his high horse. No one has ever done this before. No one has ever done it before, but that doesn't mean no one will do it now. Tang Zheng said in a profound manner. Fire Phoenix stopped laughing and stared unblinkingly at Tang Zheng as if she wanted to see through him. Young Master Tang, where does your confidence come from? Ourselves. Tang Zheng said. Ourselves. Fire Phoenix's face was unprecedentedly serious. Tang Zheng's solemn vow did not mean he was an idiot. But she still could not see through him. Young Master Tang, forgive me for speaking bluntly, but I understand your situation. I don't see anything that can contend against Huang Sai. Even with Brother Hu, you saw Hoodlum take care of Brother Hu by himself. What do you have to contend against Huang Sai? Her gaze was sharp as she waited for the two's answer. With young Master Tang here, nothing will be a problem. Lin, who was full of confidence as he had a kind of blind worship and trust towards Tang Zheng. Fire Phoenix, on the other hand, asked, Young Master Tang, forgive me for asking, but what is your cultivation level? 6th grade refining body. Tang Zheng answered truthfully. Fire Phoenix's eyes flashed with a trace of astonishment as she did not expect Tang Zheng's cultivation level to be so high. Young Master Tang, I have to say that you have made me very surprised. To have such a cultivation level at such a young age, your future achievements will be limitless. But I have to ask you a very realistic question. Huang Sai's cultivation level has already reached the 9th grade natal realm. Moreover, I heard that Huang Xiang recently obtained a mysterious cultivation technique which allowed him to progress at lightning speed. He is already a 1st grade natal realm cultivator. Even with the three of us together, how do you think we can deal with the 2 pre-celestial experts of the Huang clan? Lin, who was shocked. Huang Xiang had actually gone from the 6th grade refining body to the 1st grade natal realm in just a few short days. What kind of mysterious cultivation technique did he practice? He subconsciously looked towards Tang Zheng only to see that Tang Zheng's expression was a bit strange as he remained silent. No one spoke as they all quietly waited for Tang Zheng's answer. But at this time, Tang Zheng was actually communicating with Tian Chanzi. Didn't he say that the so-called mysterious cultivation technique he gave Huang Xiang had side effects? How did he reach the 1st grade natal realm so quickly? He was confused, so he had to ask Tian Chanzi. Here, hi, little brat, what I said about side effects is definitely not wrong. That little brat's cultivation speed is a bit faster than I expected. But the faster the better. The faster he is, the more advantageous it is for you. Tian Chanzi mysteriously said. Tang Zheng curiously asked, what kind of side effects are there that you never told me? Here, hi, if he did not cultivate to the 1st grade natal realm, then this side effect would not have appeared. But since he reached it so quickly, does that mean the heavens are helping you? Tang Zheng urged, you are becoming more and more like a fraud. Quickly tell me about the side effects. Tian Chanzi did not relent. In short, you don't have to worry about dealing with Huang Sai. When the time comes, I will give you a big surprise. Tang Zheng was helpless, but his heart was happy. Originally he was prepared to let Tian Chanzi return to the sun and deal with Huang Sai. Huang Sai's cultivation was not enough in front of Tian Chanzi, and if he did not return to the sun, then Tang Zheng was prepared to ask Feng Xinyang or Yi Tianlei for help. In short, he had many choices, which was why he was so fearless towards Huang Sai. Of course, this was his trump card and he could not tell others. But now that Tian Chanzi was so confident, he was also full of doubts. But if Tian Chanzi did not say anything, then he could not do anything. Seeing that Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix were still looking at him, Tang Zheng mysteriously said, Boss Fire, your considerations are correct. But you only considered the 3 of us and did not consider the person behind me. The person behind you? Fire Phoenix suddenly realized that Tang Zheng had such a cultivation at such a young age, he definitely had a master to guide him. Thus, Fire Phoenix, like Feng Xinyang, automatically filled Tang Zheng in with an unfathomable master. Finally, Fire Phoenix's gaze towards Tang Zheng changed. Tang Zheng of course guessed what she was thinking, but he had no choice but to bring out this mysterious master to scare her. In short, Boss Fire, you do not need to worry about Huang Sai. Right now we need to focus on how to cut off his hand, hoodlum. Fire Phoenix suddenly smiled. She had waited for this day for too many years, to the point where she had almost given up all hope. She never thought that the day she had been waiting for would finally come. She could finally openly go against Huang Sai, and the day she could avenge her husband was just around the corner. She excitedly said, "Young Master Tang, if this succeeds, I, Fire Phoenix, will be at your service." Tang Zheng finally smiled as if relieved of a heavy burden. "Boss Fire, then I wish for our cooperation to succeed." Fire Phoenix nodded her head heavily. She now felt that Tang Zheng's proposal to split the profits was too good for her. This was because the key to victory was in Tang Zheng's hands. Originally, it was not too much for him to ask for more profits. Lin Hu also let out a sigh of relief. His joy was evident in his words as young Master Tang had a way to actually convince her. "Young Master Tang, then we will first discuss how to deal with hoodlum." Fire Phoenix collected her thoughts and solemnly said, "Since hoodlum has captured Huzi's people, then we must definitely save them. But we must have a strategy." "Oh, what strategy? I'm all ears," Fire Phoenix said. Tang Zheng pointed at Lin Hu, indicating for him to speak. Lin Hu did not hold back as he sat up straight and solemnly said, "We will split our forces into 2 groups. I will bring people to save them. Hoodlum will definitely be on guard against me. His main camp will definitely have many people guarding it. This is a direct battle and we can effectively contain his people. At this time, Fire Phoenix, you will bring your people to sweep his territory. As long as we can deal with hoodlum, then these territories will naturally fall into our hands." Fire Phoenix nodded her head. "This method is not bad, but hoodlum's main camp is too dangerous. It will definitely be the place with the most people. Brother Hu, your little brothers have been scattered, and after gathering together, there will not be many people left. So you can take some people from my side to support you." Tang Zheng shook his head. "No need. This time we will not even bring Huzi's little brothers. It will only be the 2 of us." "The 2 of you?" Fire Phoenix was shocked. "This is too dangerous. You must know that hoodlum is a 5th grade body refining cultivator. Although young Master Huang is 1 grade higher than him, he still has a lot of people. When the time comes to fight, you will definitely suffer." However, Tang Zheng still insisted on his opinion. "I just want to do what others think is impossible. Not only do we have to win this battle, we also have to make our name known so that those who secretly covet us will not dare to act rashly. This kind of drastic change in the underworld would inevitably lead to some people trying to fish in troubled waters." Tang Zheng wanted to destroy these people's ambitions. Fire Phoenix still found it hard to imagine how the 2 of them could win. But since Tang Zheng was so confident, she did not try to persuade him. "Young Master Tang, relax. Tonight, don't even think about leaving a single one of hoodlum's territories." Chapter 146. It was early evening. Yi Lai Xiong Entertainment City wasn't as crowded with luxury cars and guests as it usually was. The free novel portal was deserted tonight because the entertainment city was closed. This was the first time something like this had happened in Chongheng City. It must be known that Yi Lai Xiong Entertainment City was Brother Fei's home turf, and even the police did not dare to investigate. Even when there were various crackdowns, it still stood tall and was without a doubt the leader of Chongheng City's nightclubs. But today, the entertainment city was closed. This meant that there was a storm brewing in the night. Many eyes were watching this place. Although Ordinary Balance had a few big bosses who occupied most of the territory, there were also a few small powers. These small powers were most concerned about this storm. They were ready to take advantage of the situation and use this storm to climb up their ranks. In the night, the neon lights on the entertainment city signboard were still flashing. It was like a signboard, attracting certain people to come. Who knew how many people were lying in ambush in the dark? As long as the other party dared to come, there would be no return. The light footsteps gradually got closer. The spies in the dark tensed up their nerves and looked in the direction of the footsteps. Hey, that's strange. There were only 2 people. There wasn't a large group like they had imagined. But no one dared to let down their guard. Who knew if a large group of enemies would appear from any corner and catch them unprepared? These two people didn't seem to be afraid at all. It made people wonder if they were pleasure seekers who had gone the wrong way. But when the two got closer, no one doubted them anymore. They weren't pleasure seekers, but revenge seekers. But in the spy's eyes, it was more appropriate to say that they were death seekers. They recognized Lin Hu. As for Tang Zheng, they automatically ignored him. They thought that he was Lin Hu's underling. Stop. A few spies appeared and stopped the two of them. Lin Hu was not afraid at all. Although one of his arms was wrapped in bandages around his neck, he was still full of vigor, putting on the posture of a big shot. Didn't our Fae want to see me? I'm here. Lin Hu said indifferently. Page, you really aren't afraid of death. You actually dared to come. Hoodlum used my brother to threaten me, so of course I would come. For my brother, what is there to be afraid of? Lin Hu's aura was like a rainbow, causing the other party to shiver. Brother Faye has been waiting for you for a long time, let's go. The two of them were brought into the entertainment city under the watchful eyes of many. The entertainment city was brightly lit and filled with hundreds of underlings. The halls and aisles were all filled with people. The two of them were truly insignificant, like a drop in the ocean. It was as if as long as Hoodlum gave the order, the two of them would be drowned in the sea of people, their heads separated from their bodies. Hoodlum sat boldly in the center of the hall, surrounded by his subordinates. He stared at the newcomer with an unfriendly expression. Two people were kneeling in front of Hoodlum. These two people were forced to kneel and were battered and exhausted. Their bodies were stained with blood and their expressions were dispirited. However, when they looked at Hoodlum, their eyes were filled with boundless flames of fury. When Lin Hu saw the two of them, he couldn't help but call out, Dongzi, Daozi. The two of them trembled and tried to turn around with difficulty, but they were firmly held down and couldn't move. In addition to being moved, the two of them were more anxious and frightened. They shouted, Brother Hu, quickly leave, you shouldn't have come, you shouldn't have risked your life for us. Hierhai, you're loyal. This is truly a good show. It's almost time for the 8 o'clock TV show. Hoodlum clapped his hands as he jokingly said, Hoodlum, if you have the guts then kill us. Using us to threaten Brother Tiger, what kind of hero are you? Dongzi angrily roared. Hoodlum looked at Dongzi with disdain and said, Do you know why you failed? Why don't you use your brains? What kind of society is this? What hero? Kai, that's just a show on TV, okay? Right now we are competing with strength. What use is a hero? A hero can only die and become someone else's stepping stone. Pay, Hoodlum, if you're filthy then don't taint others. Daozi disdainfully said. You're about to die so I'll let you enjoy your mouth for a while. Hoodlum wasn't angry but instead looked at Lin Hu with interest. He also automatically ignored Tang Zheng as in his eyes these two were no different from dead people. How come only the two of you came today? Could it be that the other little brothers are scared and don't dare to come? Hoodlum mockingly asked. To deal with you, two people are enough. Lin Hu coldly said. Oh, shameless boasting. Lin Hu, your ability isn't great but your tone isn't small. But this battle can't be won by just relying on your mouth. You have to rely on your fists. Rely on this. Hoodlum touched his chest and a gun appeared in his hand. It was Lin Hu's gun from before. Lin Hu's pupils shrunk as he was a bit alarmed. But seeing Tang Zheng's expression not change, he slightly relaxed his anxious heart. Say it, how do you want to die and see if I'm satisfied? Hoodlum pointed the gun at Lin Hu and asked. Hoodlum, let my brothers go first and then we can talk. Hoodlum shook his head, catch them and then let them go. Do you think I'm so bored that my balls hurt? Since these two people are your trusted aides then I will let them accompany you on the road to the Yellow Springs. Otherwise you'll be lonely. See how good I am to you, haha, haha. The others also began to laugh loudly. Brother Hu, we're not afraid of death. Our heads will be as big as a bowl scar. 18 years later we'll be a hero again. At that time we'll find him for revenge. But I doubt he'll be able to live for 18 years. Dongzi passionately said. Daozi continued to say, right, even if we can't kill you Hoodlum, someone else will. Hoodlum's expression turned cold as he turned the gun and pointed it at Dongzi. Since you want to die, I won't help you. I want you to watch how I kill your boss and then send you down to accompany him. You scoundrel. Dongzi roared. Lin Hu, if you have any last words then quickly say them. Otherwise I'll make my move. Hoodlum said. You should think of your own last words first. Otherwise you won't have the chance to say them later. Lin Hu retorted. Hoodlum shook his head. Since you're so stubborn then I'll fulfill your wish. Just as he was about to order his subordinates to make their move, Tang Zheng walked out and blocked in front of Lin Hu as he stared at Hoodlum. Tang Zheng had been silently observing Hoodlum. There was only one word, arrogant and despotic. But in the ordinary balance world, he indeed had the qualifications to be arrogant and despotic. He was a 5th grade refining body. Tang Zheng used to fear him but now he didn't even place him in his eyes. Hoodlum didn't seem to care about Tang Zheng who suddenly stood out and said, Lin Hu, are you going to hide behind your little brother again? Tang Zheng's voice rang out, Hoodlum, who ordered you to send people to kill Tang Zheng? Tang Zheng? Hoodlum was shocked and couldn't help but sit up straight. This matter was very secretive and only a few people knew about it. But those people were either dead or crazy, so how did this little brat know? Hoodlum's eyes gradually narrowed as he stared at Tang Zheng as if he wanted to see through him, but in the end it was futile. Who are you? Hoodlum asked with killing intent. Tang Zheng, it's you. Hoodlum was really shocked. Wasn't Tang Zheng a high school student? How did he get mixed up with Lin Hu? But the other question in his heart was immediately answered as his eyes lit up and he said, Lin Hu, you still don't want to admit that you were the one who killed Scarface's people? So you were mixed up with this little brat. Lin Hu's face was blank. Tang Zheng's heart moved as he guessed that Hoodlum must have thought that Scarface was killed by Lin Hu and didn't think that it was done by ghosts. But this was no longer important as he wanted to find out who was the mastermind behind the scenes. Tell me who is the mastermind behind the scenes and you will die a quick death today. Tang Zheng said. Hoodlum gave a loud laugh. Little brat, have you been scared silly? You actually dare to say such big words. Fine, in any case I still wanted to find you. Since you voluntarily delivered yourself to me then I don't need to go through the trouble. Today I will deal with all of you and none of you will be able to leave this place. Tang Zheng shook his head as Hoodlum's mouth was very stubborn. It seems that he would have to pry it open later. There was no longer any possibility for the two sides to talk as the atmosphere became oppressive as if a great battle was about to break out. Hoodlum's eyes turned cold as he loudly shouted, Attack! Shua! The lackeys from all directions pulled out their gleaming machetes and aimed them at Tang Zheng and Lin Hu at the same time. Tang Zheng's eyes trembled as he said in a low voice, Little tiger, follow me closely. Yes, young Master Tang. Tang Zheng moved. Before the others could move, he had already taken a large step forward and charged at Hoodlum like a fierce tiger. The two were separated by 5 meters, but in the next second he was only 1 meter away from Hoodlum. To capture bandits, one must first capture the ringleader. Tang Zheng wanted to take advantage of Hoodlum's underestimation of his opponent to instantly control him so that he would not be defeated in this battle. Lin Hu clenched his teeth as he followed Tang Zheng. He held his knife with one hand and protected Tang Zheng's back. Ping 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 ping, metal clashed as sparks flew. He completely blocked the attacks coming from all directions. Although he was injured, he still had an absolute advantage when facing ordinary little brothers. Hoodlum's pupils constricted as he never would have thought that this unassuming high school student would be an expert. Just these few simple steps caused his heart to tense up. However, he did not believe that his opponent would be able to defeat him. After all, there was a difference in age. Hoodlum did not move as he calmly sat on the fishing platform. His finger lightly pulled the trigger. Peng! A muffled gunshot rang out as Tang Zheng slid to the left. The bullet whizzed past and hit one of the little brothers beside him. His speed was not faster than the bullet, but his reaction was faster than Hoodlum's. In the instant that Hoodlum was about to pull the trigger, he dodged. After experiencing Huang Xiang's shooting incident, he was no longer so afraid of guns. As long as he was within close range, guns would not be able to threaten him. With a slip of his feet, Tang Zheng had already arrived in front of Hoodlum, giving him no time to fire a second shot. He casually grabbed a nearby lackey's machete and swung it towards Hoodlum's arm. Hoodlum pulled his arm back. Shua! The machete fell and chopped at the gun barrel, splitting it into two. Hoodlum's heart turned cold. When an expert made a move, he could see the depth of the attack with a single glance. He clearly understood how terrifying the power behind that attack was. A gun was not made of wood but steel. The machete was clearly not a top-notch machete, yet it was able to slice through the gun barrel with a smooth cut. Hoodlum believed that he could do the same, but he would not be able to do it as easily as Tang Zheng. He finally felt a fatal threat. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.